Hey world,
Hey Dallas.
I'm Alvin,
And I'm Sean.
and welcome to Tit for Tat.
This and that.
All right, so today our topic is going to be on.
What do you want from me? Oh, it's privilege. A topic is called privilege. Pretty much like the I don't know. We don't plan this. It's like black gay privilege and a lot of other privilege too, but how we see that some people, depending on whatever category you fit in, you receive some type of privilege or favoritism. So yeah.
Yeah, I think most people in the world have some type of privilege, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
But before we get started in that, though, how was your weekend, sir?
It's been good. It's been very relaxing. A few brunches here and there or whatever. But yeah, it's been nice.
Oh, okay. All righty. Well, so before we get started in this topic, I'm gonna do our little. It's like my little, the little chuckle of the week, but it's also a oh no you didn't. I wanna get your reaction to this. You may have already seen it circulating around the internet.
Beyonce's internet.
Yeah, Beyonce's internet. Charles knows Beyonce.
Right.
Internet.
My cousin's in
Your internet. You need to get us some. You need to get us some favoritism from Beyonce if that's your cousin. You need to get us some privileges.
there. Since that's your cousin.
You said what?
You said if that's your cousin. I'm saying since that's
Oh,
your
since that's does she know?
cousin.
Does she know you're her cousin?
Baby, the shade. Yeah, she knows. Hey, Beyonce, baby.
Y'all,
And Solange, Aunt Tina, and Uncle.
get us some privilege.
Mhm.
Get us some backstage pass or something. Get us a trip to come see her or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm gonna share this screen here real quick, and then I want you to I want to get your reaction to it.
Mhm.
My fucking hat.
Damn, actually? Oh, shit. Oh, I didn't know that was bad. My bad, bro. Like, actually. No, actually. Put the camera down.
My fucking hat.
Damn, actually. Oh, shit.
Oh my.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Uh,
you did take his hat.
so what did you think about that? Oh, there's Giant Jane on the show.
What did I think about it? I don't know. I didn't think much about it. I mean, he got what he should have took the boy's hat off.
So, what would you have done in that situation? You would have slapped the shit out of him too, or
No, but I mean,
you wouldn't?
I wouldn't have slapped them. No.
You just would have just kept saying,
Not especially not like that. I mean, my God. Yeah, I wouldn't have slapped them. I would just
Hey,
say, give me
Joe.
my hat.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Good cabin trip. I've been watching their little videos they've been putting up and their lives on their cabin trip. They went to the Smoky Mountains.
Okay.
Like me and Larry was there, which I think I said this last week, but they've been he's been editing and getting videos and stuff up. And it was so pretty cool trip.
Cool.
And I've been kind of making fun of them because they were that like there was bears and stuff like that. They had the bridge that you go across. You could either run across it if there ain't nobody in your way.
Mhm.
And then they were jumping and they said they were screaming and whatever. I was listening, they weren't really screaming, but they were doing the whole ooh, like they were really scared.
I would have been screaming.
It was fun watching them though.
Well, that's nice. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, they said they were up editing all night.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, they're I've been watching it. I've been going back watching some of their videos, catching up on some of their content that I hadn't seen yet. So everybody go out there and watch Jay and Joe. Okay. And so, but yeah, I thought I would just throw that little.
Yeah, that was kind of mean. But I mean, you take off somebody's hat. I mean, I guess he didn't want. Clearly, he didn't want his hat taken off, and the other guy thought it was gonna be funny. So you never really know, like what mood someone's in. Like we all have our moments or whatever. I know. With me, if it's too early, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna get. Give me time to fill my day or whatever. And then if I'm hungry, yeah, I might be like, wait, let me get some food first or whatever. So you never know what type of mood a person is in or whatever. Evidently, he did not want his hat to be taken off. That he slapped that little boy, and the little boy like, what else he gonna do? Because this boy is big.
Yeah, but what the hell he gonna take his hat off for anyway? That's kind of bold. That's privilege to me. I mean, what kind of privilege does he think he has that he could just walk up to somebody and just take your hat off? He didn't even know that.
Oh, really? He didn't? I thought they were friends.
No, he didn't know that guy.
How do you know that?
Huh?
How do you know that?
Because when I watched the whole video.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I just put the excerpt up on there. They have it on the they have the what happened. You can go read it.
Okay, but I don't know the whole thing. I just saw that little clip, and that's another thing. We're just taking stuff.
Those were content creators, and they're trying to get views, or doing whatever, and then they just felt like they could just go up to him, because he's famous,
Oh, he's like, who is he?
He's a footballer.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah,
that was just a regular person. I do see that kind of stuff. Trends where people play jokes on people like in the grocery stores and stuff like that, and sometimes they don't go well, just like this one. So yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, but I would be upset too. I probably would slap the shit out of him too if he just came up into the gym and I didn't know him.
Right.
And you just taking my hat off so you can get views on your, like whoever was videoing them, or whatever. It did say they were content creators, but that guy was working out, he's minding his own business. And then, what nerve, the nerve of you to just come up, while I'm working out and you don't know me,
right.
And then don't even have a conversation with me first or anything, like that. You just come up, oh, hey, I'm famous. He's famous. Look at so-and-so over there, and then you just snatch their hair, the hat off. Right. And then what if it right? And what if it had been what if it had been somebody who was didn't want like ashamed of or whatever, didn't want to show their head, or just say they might have had a toupee or something up under there, and you yank that thing off like that, and that pulls that toupee. You know what I'm saying? That was just bold, and then I don't know what kind of privilege that is, but
I think it was just a prank. If that's what you're saying, yeah, it's just a prank or whatever that they thought they were going to get away with. They thought it was going to go a whole nother way, but clearly it did not. And he got slapped.
Look out. Okay. Yeah. I think I don't know. I probably would have slapped him too, or my reaction I might have punched him just because of just the reaction of somebody just coming up on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then just doing something like that. But anyway. So let's go on and get into this topic here. So we're going to be talking about privilege. Black gay privilege. There's we hear a lot about white gay privilege, white straight privilege, white mainstream privilege, but what about black gay privilege? Is that really a thing?
Right.
So how we ended up on this topic is we were out at Marty's. I think it was last week or the week before. I think it was the week before maybe. And then we ran into your friend, and
hey Tommy.
Hey Tommy. And then he was telling us, oh, I watch y'all show, every week. Oh, I love y'all show, and stuff, like that. And then and then you would ask him, while we were out there talking, you would ask him, what are some topics or subjects you would like to hear us talk about. And
Yeah.
then he came up with this one. He gave us a few examples while we was standing there talking to him outside on their patio, Marty's patio. I sound a little hoarse too, though.
I know, dealing with Texas weather, y'all, allergies and everything. But
Yeah, and I don't even feel like my allergies are acting up or anything, but it is, it's about 100 degrees out there. So anyway, we were talking to him, and he had came up and he was talking about this subject, and then he may come in and join us, and he may not. I don't know if he's in or not, but we both thought it was a good topic to talk about. We've touched upon it on some of our other videos, with privilege, and pretty privilege and all those different things. So let's get into it. And then what do you think about this? I mean, I already asked that, but give me what do you think Black gay privilege is, or what's afforded Black gay, Blacks?
I don't think it's a I don't really think it has anything to do with what that you're Black or gay. I just think because you're in a Black gay environment, that's why we're calling it Black gay privilege or whatever, because you can receive privilege anywhere in any particular situation. So I think most of the privilege that we're going to talk about can pertain to anybody, whether you're Black, gay, or whatever. Some may just be centered around gay, but the Black gay privilege that I've seen happens at the I guess the places that I may tend to go, maybe like different events or different clubs or whatever, where you see a person may know someone on the staff, and because they're really good with the person on the staff, they get certain privilege, like they may be able to get in ahead of everybody else in the line. They may get preferential treatment at the bar. They may get, free drinks or discounted drinks or what have you. May even get, like if it's kind of like an event or something where they're seating or whatever, they may get, priority seating or table service. The waiters are really, going to see about them or whatever. And just the personalized attention they may receive, or recognition or visibility, amongst everybody else or whatever. We may see stuff like that in those environments. But like you said, the only reason why we're saying Black gay, because that's where we are. We're around Black gay, but some people, you can get that anywhere. White people get it, but just whatever. But yeah, that's since we're talking about Black gay, I have seen that in some of the places we've gone.
Well, do you think that white gay privilege differs than Black gay privilege, or you think it's about you think it's about the same?
I think white people are probably, it's the environment, because if you take that same white person and put him in the club where we are predominantly at, probably not going to get that white gay privilege or whatever at a Black gay event or whatever. So I think it sometimes depends on the environment or
who they are.
Or who they are.
Yeah, because I think if a white famous person came in there, or somebody who they all knew that was famous or whatever, then they would like probably access. So and that's what we're talking about. Who gets granted gay privilege and access? Is it, like when we go out, or just anywhere, but not just us, but just people in general here, when we're out, is it the pretty people who, like who they deem as pretty, like the people who are letting people in the clubs, or getting invited to the party, either getting invited to the party or not getting invited to the party,
right.
Or so you think it's like pretty people, or like people with these big, gym bodies and stuff, that they get the preferential treatment, or is it like people who, because you're their friend, like just say we were going into on premise, and then we've stood in that line. they've never given us any privilege. We have to stand there like everybody else. But we have seen people where they would let some people in.
No, I've got
And then-
privileged one time when I was with Tim because he knows some of the people on that organization or whatever we got in before everybody else.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's because you know someone or whatever. Pretty privilege. I don't know about that because I don't know what the person deems pretty, but we know that there are some privileges that whatever you deem is pretty, they may receive. I see a lot of that on social media though. Like the Instagrams and whatever, all the likes and the shares and, making this person seem like they just it, so they get a lot of social attention, a lot of admiration. They may even get opportunities that others may not, receive or whatever. So I guess the pretty privilege is more like we talked about last week, in the eye of the beholder. If that's what you deem pretty, then maybe you are going to give them more access to stuff, and and they might not be discriminated or whatever against. Whatever discrimination that others may receive, you're not going to discriminate against them because they fit, what you deem as pretty or whatever. So yeah.
You think that a lot of times when they're granted, when people with pretty privilege or non-pretty privilege, or whatever the privilege is, do you think there's usually an ulterior motive for granting on some, like granting some of them pretty privilege? And I actually got, because I didn't think about that, but Slick and Salacious, she had they had submitted a comment, on one of our other videos, and then they said that sometimes they're granted access because in the people's mind they're gonna, like they could think they're gonna end up having sex with them. She said they get cheeks, whatever.
Okay.
But it's like, but sometimes people are invited to places or whatever because you may be attracted to them or whatever, and so you may have ulterior motives for why why you're giving them the privilege over somebody else.
Yeah.
It may not necessarily be because of how they look or their body or anything like that, or it could all be rolled into. It could be all of that at the same time, but it also could be like you think you're going to maybe be able to, get them in bed or something like sex or something like that.
Right.
So a lot of times they, not a lot, I don't know, sometimes I say a lot, anyway, but it's like, sometimes people have ulterior motives for why they give privilege to some people and then not to others.
Right.
It could be the same thing with like movie stars and or singers and people who are trying to get ahead or your jobs and stuff, like that. Initially, they can hire you because they, they think you're pretty or good looking, like some, like say it's a man and he's looking at some woman, or sometimes it's men looking at other men or whatever. Sometimes they hire people just because they are gay. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gay, or or whatever, or DL or whatever, and they might want to hire somebody, over somebody who may be even more qualified than the gay person,
right?
Because they think that they may eventually get something out of it, like how people hire movie stars and they bring them up, or like the Bill Cosby thing where he was drugging people, but he had ulterior motives to like help, I'm helping you, move your career up. And a lot of people do that. They can take advantage of people. And then the people who they're given that privilege to, sometimes they don't see that ulterior motive.
Right. Until it actually happens.
But yeah. And then there, monetary gain, sometimes people are given privilege because they know that person is famous or that person has a lot of money, or whatever. And then so, I'm just going to let this person in the club. And it's just not all clubs, but I'm going to let this person in the club, because later I might get something out of it. They may invite me to their big event that they're having or something like that. And sometimes that's what happens is, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Right.
There's always like an agenda or whatever. Yeah. And then those same people, they get that treatment, you know, even with law enforcement, that, you know, I may do something and the policeman or the security is all over me, but because this person has some type of privilege, you let them get by with certain things, you know, even though I probably would have went to jail for it or got wrote up or whatever, you know, with security or the police or whatever,
Yeah.
you know. And then like you said, with the gay thing, it could even be to reach some kind of quota, like, you know, or to show that, you know, we are diverse, you know, we're diverse over here. You know, so you become the poster child almost, like, you know, see, we are gay people. See, yeah, we are, you know, we are Black people or whatever, but you're only doing that, you know, not because I may qualify or I meet, you know, I check all your boxes or whatever, but because you're, you know, you have an agenda. Like you say, you have ulterior motives. Yeah.
So, Jay and Joe,
Yeah.
they said, I think privilege is in many ways, but I also think a lot of people prejudge off appearance and popularity, which ends up getting those prejudged people more privilege.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it gives them more privilege. And then, so are you, not you, I'm just the world out there, you know, come in and comment. Do we have like any jealousy towards that when we see somebody having a privilege like that, when they get in the privilege, somebody's letting them in the line, up in the line, or they can just walk up and we've been standing here for an hour, they just usher you in somewhere. Let me give an example. You know, so our friends Keith and Dexter down in Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Hey
guys, you know, they to me, you know, this is just to me, you know, I mean, I don't know for sure, but to me, they have celebrity status because no matter where we go, we get ushered in. We've been standing in line down there, you know, in Houston, to get into to certain, like a restaurant here or a restaurant there. And then I remember 2 years ago, we were down there, and then me and Larry, Dre, Tenor, and Jose, we were standing in that line, and it was cold outside. It was like February, and then and we were meeting them for breakfast. And as soon as we were standing there a good 30 minutes, it's just freezing. And as soon as they walked up, Keith went into the restaurant, and when he went into the restaurant, the lady came back out with him and came and got all those other people who was before us and after us. You know, she pulled us out of the line, took us inside, and set us up high in the table. You know, and you could, you know, you knew he had that clout and that pull,
Right.
and that was privilege there. So earlier in the segment, I said I've never had any, you know, like that type of privilege. But when I think back on it, yeah, I did, because when we were down there for y'all birthday, remember we went to the restaurant, and then they ushered us right on in there.
Yeah.
You know, so they do have like that type of, you know, celebrity status, and I guess when you're around them, different people is going to get some privilege for just being around them. Yeah. You know, so, and I think they're, you know, probably pretty famous through Houston or whatever. It seems like a lot of people know them. You know, so but back to Joe and Jace.
Well, you were asking the world, do they get upset or do they have a problem with it? Would you have an issue with it?
No, I don't. I actually have never had a problem.
Well, I would.
I don't care.
I would. So
care.
for me, I would. Only way I would not is if that person is actually the place that we're trying to get into. If they're like performing, you know, like say we're trying to get into a concert or somewhere, and it's, you know, it's my cousin Beyonce, and she has to perform. Well, if she gets escorted in, I'm not going to be upset because I'm here to see you. But if I'm just in line, I mean, it does rub me a certain way if I see people like I don't know you from you know, the Man in the Moon, and all of a sudden I see you get escorted, that's gonna rub me a certain way. I'm not gonna fight anybody, or you know, hopefully I don't have to, or I'm not gonna start anything like that, or I'm not gonna, you know, make a scene or whatever. But yeah, it's gonna rub me a certain way, especially if I've been in this line all this time. I mean, to me, that's just being, you're human. And now if I know that, you know, this is, you know, ooh, this is Mr. Whoever, and this is Mrs. Whatever, and I might understand it because I know they have a little, you know, local status here, or maybe even a worldwide status or whatever. So I kind of get it, you know, or whatever. But if it's just somebody I don't know and you just done bypassed or whatever, yeah, it kind of rose me up, you know, a certain way. So.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't. I've been so many places where I had to stand in line, or, you know, okay, I'm gonna have to go back to this thing because I need to, you know, I said I didn't have privilege, but I guess I did have privilege when it came to going into white clubs, you know, because there's times we've talked about this, you know, touched on this in a couple of our other videos too, but there's times where I've never had a problem getting into any club, you know, because I was Black. But I have been with my friends who are Black and they wouldn't let them in, but they would let me in, you know, and then even though to me that was racism going on, you know, it was racism. But then it also was I guess considered a privilege because they let me in, but I didn't see it like that, you know, or whatever. But that was that whole thing of where, you know, where white people find some Black people acceptable and don't find other Black people acceptable. Mm-hmm. And sometimes with some Black people, you know, sometimes it has to do with their skin color. You know, the darker they are, the more intimidating they are to white folks. You know, sometimes it has to do with their body composition, like if they're real tall or maybe real tall and big, you know, that's, you know, white folks can find that intimidating, you know, or whatever, or scary or however they see it, you know, but I never had a problem walking into a club, a white club, majority white club, where they would let me in, and then they did, for some reason, they didn't feel threatened or whatever by me, you know. And even though I don't really like to say that was a privilege, but then I would actually walk back out if my friends couldn't get in either. So,
so because you got that privilege, does that make you feel like you should get privilege anywhere you go?
No, I don't. I've never thought I should get privilege anywhere. You know, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me when I see other people, you know, because they're ushering them in, or they're, you know, they gave them some free tickets or something, or they got invited to the party, and then just say I wouldn't have gotten invited to the party, but they may have gotten invited to the party because of the way they look or their status in society, you know, or their whole friend clique group. That's who's going to get in, and then. It wouldn't bother me, you know, and I don't think it ever has. I think it's just more of, you know, since we're talking about this subject, that I actually thought about it, because I really hadn't thought about Black gay privilege, or that I got any type of Black gay privilege, you know, because I've really only mainly seen the white privilege and stuff like that until we were talking with Tommy last week, and then he. You know, he brought it up and we were discussing it, you know.
And just to be clear, I don't think that when he mentioned it that the Black gay thing was on there, but because I mean, you know, our audience is Black gay, I think that's why we went with the Black thing. I think his whole thing was just privilege, period. And that he sees, you know, in probably that club and maybe others that, you know, he may attend or whatever. Right. So we just called it Black gay privilege, because I know you said, like, is that a thing? And I mean, well, I guess it depends on the, you know, the environment that you're in and the people that you're around. You know, because I'm in this Black gay environment, do I see other Black gay people get privilege? Then, you know, yeah, it may pertain to that.
Yeah, and it's also outside of the Black gay world too. Also, I'm put up a comment here where I was reading up on, I was reading this article and stuff up on privilege, and then black gay privilege.
Mhm.
So what I'll do is let me put up their comment here. I think he agrees with you.
Mhm.
Let's see. He says, "Come on, cousin."
No, yeah.
But I agree with Charles. It would make me leave out the line and go somewhere else.
Yeah. And I was basically talking about, so in my mind, I may say that it's an example of it. And I was just thinking, like, if I'm in a line for a restaurant, and I was really thinking about the one we was at Houston where that line, I forgot what was it. We went and we got the lemonades.
Oh yeah,
What's the name of it?
I forgot the name of it. It's the
Sorry,
it's
we'll
the-
give y'all a little plug, but
yeah, I forgot the name of it. But it's black owned and operated, and that's where we've been there before. Now when
because that was a line.
right, but we didn't get when me and you went, we didn't get ushered in.
No, and no, we didn't.
So
So
when I went with my other friends,
Mhm.
and then when Dexter and Keith got there, we got ushered in right away.
Right.
So
yeah.
that's where the privilege came from
Yeah.
for me.
No, my point was when we said the question, put the scenario out that would you get upset or would you feel a certain way if or be bothered or whatever if you saw someone get escorted to the front of the line. And in my mind I just went there to that situation, and I just remember being in a long line, and if I was to see somebody that I didn't know, and I'm like, who is this? And then all of a sudden they get escorted in. It's like, what? But if I was, say that somebody that I know, like a singer or whatever, was gonna perform at that place, then I would get it. I mean, of course they need to get in there. They're the entertainment or whatever. So I get that. Or like we may be at the bars and the drag queens may get escorted in because they're performing. It's a drag show. So I'm not really upset because I see that. But just a normal person that's just in regular clothes, just like me, just coming to dance or whatever, and all of a sudden you get escorted, I don't like what, So yeah, that's what I was talking about. But yeah, I don't know. You're right. I may leave or go somewhere else, or I may just stay. But I'm gonna probably be griping all the way up to the front, like, who the hell was that, and why'd you let them in? Whatever. But yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't leave because I've never had before. I've just stood there. The only reason why that I have left is like if my friends or something, like it's real cold or raining or something, and then my friends say, "Yeah, let's go somewhere else," or we don't want to stand in the line or whatever. And I don't get upset if I ain't got invited to no party or anything, like that. Somebody else who.
Well, I wouldn't get upset either. Now you're taking that's a whole nother scenario. Now, if someone does not invite me to a party, I'm not getting upset.
Well, I had it all thrown in together.
Oh,
I didn't have it separate. I had, I said it a little while ago that, being in line, or it encompasses a whole bunch of different things. I don't have a problem being anywhere, I think the only way I would do that, would probably be upset or something, like that. If racism was involved again, like I said, where they didn't let me in or didn't afford me this or grant me this or whatever, even though I might be qualified, or there was no reason for them not to let me in or whatever, if it was just due to my skin color. And then that's where I have left before. Now, when I was with my white friends, we went on in, or whatever. But if I had my black friends with me and we were, we were trying to get in the club, and they would go on and let me in, but then they wouldn't let them in just from looking at their skin color or what they had on, then I would have an issue or problem with that. But just regular privilege that people are afforded, how certain groups or people afford people privilege in this world, it just flies right over my head, whatever. I mean, I can see them getting let in or so-and-so, but I'll still keep my little black ass standing right there if I really want to go in
too, but it still rubs me the same way.
But and I don't even, I don't even think about it. I'm sitting there, I know what's happening, but it doesn't bother me. And because it kind of goes back to what we said, everybody has some type of privilege, you know, depending on who, what, or where you are or something. At any given time, you can get some type of privilege or whatever. And it doesn't even have to do with sometimes being pretty, you know, or have a nice body or whatever, or because you're a famous porn star, stripper, or something like that, or a famous movie star. Usually, we know that a lot of times movie stars, and then we're going to get special privilege, you know, or rush to the line or special seating and stuff, you know, like that. And that doesn't upset me.
That's not going to upset me either because I know that you're a celebrity. So no, that's not going to upset me either. So yeah.
And then so what's the difference then in just a celebrity getting special privilege status and then you not getting special privilege status?
We just
y'all in the same line.
We just see things differently, and it's okay. If you don't get upset, you don't get upset. What I'm
not
saying
that.
No, you said you don't get upset when you see that.
I don't get upset, but I'm asking you a question like, what's the difference? Because you just made a difference between what
I thought I said that earlier. So let me say it again.
What a general person is.
So let me say it again because I thought I said. So if Beyonce was at the same place that I was in, and I know whether she's the entertainment or not, in the first instance, I said she's the entertainment. Of course, I know she needs to be in there because she's going to perform. So it's okay. And if she's not that, she's Beyonce. So I get that. But if I am in a line with just regular people, and all of a sudden I see somebody, I just see Joe, whoever Joe is, and he gets escorted up to the line. And when I say upset, and I thought I said this before, I'm not about to fight. I'm not about to just go berserk. I'm just saying it's going to rub me a certain way because I'm in line just like everybody else. It's hot out here. It's cold out here. It's raining out here. Whatever the case may be, it may be a nice day. It's just the fact that I'm in the same line, about to pay you the same money to get in, and all of a sudden I see Joe get escorted to the line. That's gonna rub me a certain way. That's it.
But not a celebrity.
They are.
Because the celebrity are you saying they should be afforded celebrity status?
I know in this world that I live in, I'm not crazy, I'm not dumb. I know in this world that celebrities get certain privileges. And so I expect that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially if they're on the program or whatever it is, of course they're gonna be in there. Do I like it? No, but I understand it. Just like if I was a celebrity, or when I become a celebrity, I know there are gonna be situations where I'm gonna be escorted in, or we have the side door, we have the back door, or whatever. Just like when we were at the Fair Park and CeCe Peniston came, they drove her right on up to the stage, or whatever, and they let her up there, or whatever. Privilege. I mean, there was a certain type of privilege. I'm okay with that. You're on the roster, the single. I get that, or whatever. Would I get that? Probably not, because I'm not up there singing or whatever. So I get that, or whatever. And that didn't rub me any kind of way because I was there to see her. But had it been just, unless, if it was just another person that was there and all of a sudden they get rushed to the front, I'm like, what? Why they get, rushed up there or whatever? I'm gonna have questions, and if I might not even ask nobody, I'm not gonna call Channel 4 News and say you need to write a story because they whatever. I'm just, within myself, like, what was the difference? Why did they get up there? So
okay, so then talking about that then, so back in 2017, Tamar Braxton was here, and she went in. Her and her entourage or friends or whatever, they stood in line, to go inside of JR's. They didn't announce that I'm a star, or whatever. She was she just had on regular clothes like we all dress. She had on loose pants or shorts or whatever, and she had on a hoodie. And then they didn't let her in, even though a lot of other places she's been, she's got that star status privilege, where they're going to usher her in the back door, or they're going to let her in before other people, or what if they see her, it's like, oh, come on, Tamar, even though, it'd be more, celebrity stuff with it or whatever. But in this instance, her celebrity star status privilege did not work for her here in Dallas, going into a white establishment with mainly white establishment, which is JR's. You know, what they saw was a black girl who they thought looked thuggish, you know, or whatever is what they said, you know, and then that's why they didn't let her in. But when they found out who she was, you know, when she said something about it, and her agent or whatever who was with her said something about it, that's when they came back with their statement, like, oh, if we had just known who she was, we could have let her in the back. And then they put out that whole generic thing, you know, we don't discriminate, you know, we accept all people, which is not true, you know. But
I submit that. So when that happened, I read stuff, and it may have said the thuggy stuff, I don't know. But that didn't stand out to me, because I'm like, that could have been it. If you go to JR's right now, it's some people that look thuggish or whatever. So I don't see why you would get stopped at the door because of what you know, what do they consider thuggish? What I read, and it was on Facebook and stuff like that, it was because, you know, she had a certain, and this is when I want to say maybe it was, what was it, 2021, or what was it, what year?
2017.
2017. So that was before. That was pre-COVID, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was pre-COVID, because I want to say something was going on.
Pre-COVID.
So something was going on, and I say that, and the reason why I said COVID is because I know we had certain precautions during that time. So this was before. So the precautions that time, and I remember they did have a list on the doors. That whole strip had a list on the doors of what could be brought in, what couldn't, whatever, because it was something going on, like crime or something in that area, and they had a list. And I think they made it more visible after that incident too, or whatever. But they had a list of what you could bring and what you couldn't bring or whatever. And what I was reading was, you know, she had this big ass purse or whatever. And so I was like, what? You have drag queens that come in with, you know, big purse, like after they perform, or even when they're going to perform, they have all their stuff, you know, in their bags or whatever. I said, nah, that's not the reason. I think her and her entourage, they were not used to that. They were not used to all that, whatever. And it just I don't know. It just went another way that it shouldn't have gone.
Do you think they would have done that if a white person came in with a hoodie and a big bag? You know, and baggy jeans or whatever she had on.
I mean, I hope they would. I mean, if that's what they're saying thuggish is. So I mean, because if it's thuggish on her, it should be thuggish on a white person too, or whatever. So I mean, I would hope, but you know.
But here's the thing: once they found out who she was and she was famous, they was going to let her in with what she had on, because they was like, oh, well, you know, we.
And is this what she had on?
That's what she had on.
I don't.
Yeah, she had this. She took the hoodie off in this, but there's the other pictures of her show going in there with the hoodies. You know, I looked at several of them and I read several different. You know,
so I don't see nothing wrong with the way.
Well, evidently I look like a gangster.
See, what's that?
Here in my favorite town, Dallas, they said zero tolerance for Black people.
I want to get a look at that bag, because I want to know why the bag. Yeah, why was that bag such an issue? Because that's what I heard was one of the main issues.
I look like a gangster. I can't come in this establishment. Here in my favorite town, Dallas, they said zero tolerance for Black people.
She's so dramatic, but I mean, I get it though. I get it. I would have been upset as well, Tamar. Sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, I've been in JRs plenty of times, and I've seen people in there with bags. You know, I see especially straight women come in there all the time, and they white women usually, and they'll have their bags. I've seen them in there with big oversized, you know, stuff on, hats, hoodies. you know, I see white guys go in there with their hoodies and oversized, with sunglasses, oversized stuff or whatever. This just takes me back to some of the same stuff that has been happening on Cedar Springs 30 years ago with the, you know, with the racism and the exclusion and stuff of Black folks or whatever. So it still kind of goes back to me like it does. Some privilege goes against you, but even though they didn't know who she was, you know, because if they had known who she was, they would have done like they said and ushered her in the back door. But my friend, yesterday we were out at you know, Arlington Gay Pride event, me and my friend Brian, and he, you know, he is white, and we were talking about this subject on, you know, about, you know, the difference between white privilege and Black privilege, and, you know, and how it mirrors mainstream society a lot. We still kind of do some of the same stuff to each other that mainstream society does. But you know, it dawned on me when he said something. It's probably a lot of white people who don't know who Tamar is anyway. You know, like most Black people, if you say Tamar Braxton, they're going to know who she is. And there's quite a few white folks who know who Tamar is too. But when I told him the story of what happened to Tamar going into JR's, he said, "Who's Tamar?" You know, and then I gave him the double look, and I was like, "You don't know who Tamar Braxton is?" And he was like, "No, I never heard of her." I said, "Have you heard of Toni Braxton?" And then he was like, "Oh yeah, I know who Toni Braxton." And I said, "Well, that's her sister, and she's famous also." You know what?
But you don't have to announce your name going in, so I don't know why.
Right. Why they did that?
Yeah.
You know, but we know why they did it. You know, we know exactly why they did it. It didn't have anything to do with her celebrity status. They didn't know who she was or whatever. It was because she was Black, and they felt threatened or like she was going to come in there, you know, or whatever. They went strictly off of what her appearance and what she looked like, which is what they used to do, you know, all those years ago. And it seems like they're still doing it, of how they perceive Black people, you know. So even even the privilege that we may get afforded for being Black here or you know, in the Black community, that still doesn't work for us a lot of times in the white community, you know, or mainstream community or the white community, unless we're like so famous that everybody in the world knows you. Because her stardom and being famous didn't work for her, you know, and her privilege that she normally gets did not work for her this time, you know, which is sad that they did that. But
and like I said, I did hear that they told her that if you would have let us know you were coming, we would have made provisions for you. We would have, you know, let you in a certain door and, you know, had a section for you or whatever. But for you to just come in like that or whatever. And I don't know how many people she had with her, but I know she probably had an entourage. And we all know Tamar is she's very extra or whatever. So I don't know how she came to them or whatever. But just to say her dress, that to me, that's such a lame excuse, because what she had on, I don't see anything wrong. I see people worse than that, and that wasn't even bad. I mean, I don't, you know. So yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about earlier that I was going to come back to. Being perceived as gay, if one is Black, may indeed impose an offsetting stereotype of being non-threatening that advantages some Black gay men over some Black straight men in the workforce. So I was listening to a few podcasters talking about this. They were white, and then they had some women on there that were Black, and men on there that was Black too, and then they had some gay and straight. And what they were saying was that actually being Black and gay, they don't consider us threatening like they do straight Black men, you know. And they're not talking about women here. They're talking about just, you know, they did the survey and stats that they put out, you know, it was on gay Black men, how often they get hired even quicker than a white gay person would get hired. They're going, you know, so if a Black person gay and they go apply for a job or go through the interview, and then for some reason they don't consider, well, I know the reason they don't, because they said it in the study too, But the reason why a lot of employers don't find black gay men intimidating is because they put us in the femininity category, you know, and so they find us less threatening than they do a straight black man. So a straight black man and a gay black man, you know, probably 8 times or so out of 10, the gay black man is going to get that job over the black straight man, just because they don't find black gay men as threatening as they do black straight men, you know. And so I thought that was pretty interesting, you know, because I had never even heard that or thought anything like that before. But I thought that was very interesting of how people perceive, you know, the gay privilege. And that would be a black gay privilege, you know, because they just, you know, you just got hired, you know, and you might not even been as qualified, you know what I mean? But because they find you non-threatening, and also
for them to know that you're black gay, you must have either shown them or told them that. Because if I go on an interview and I apply for a job, I'm not announcing my sexuality, you know. So if you hire me, you're hiring me based on, you know, what you see and what is, you know, what's on my resume. And what I've told you, you know, whether I had a good interview or a bad interview, you know, maybe I stumbled here or there or just shocked, you know, knocked your socks off or whatever. But I'm not, for me, I know some people are a little bit more, you know, out there or whatever, and you're just being yourself, which is fine. But, you know, I don't think it comes up. No, I don't. If someone asks me, well, are you gay or whatever, and I never tell that. So my thing is, why they must have just seen it on the person or whatever, or assumed that they were gay. Because why? I mean, how did that even come up? The gay part. I mean, they can't help to see, but you're black. I mean, you know, you can't hide that. But for you to know that I'm gay, I mean, are they telling you that? And I can see your point. I can see that, you know, especially when it comes to women, working with women, they really. Because I worked with a black woman, and she did find, you know, black men, straight or gay, I guess, probably straight, a little bit intimidating or whatever. You know, they really like to work, especially in call centers. I know some of y'all out there may know call centers or whatever, or just some office jobs or whatever. It's mostly women or whatever. So they feel like, oh, a gay man can fit right in. You know, y'all one of us anyway, or whatever. And I can see, you know, the job going to, you know, make a gay person as opposed to a straight person or whatever. But yeah, I just wonder, like, how did the gay even come up? Like, did they just see it or whatever, you know?
Yeah, they did the study, so I guess they delved into how, you know, they must have delved into, they didn't say that part in some of the stuff I watched, but they must have delved into how the person did know they're gay. Because this goes back, what I just put up here goes back to what you're saying. It's like, you know, people don't know, you know, you don't necessarily know whether somebody is gay or not unless they're telling you that, you know, or whatever, or somebody else has told them that, you know, or, you know, sometimes they perceive as being effeminate or overly effeminate as gay, and that's not necessarily true, because there's a lot of effeminate men out there who are not gay at all. But sometimes they can perceive that person, perceive you as being gay.
Right.
That's not true. But like with skin color, you can't tell. So if we walked in somewhere with our skin color, we can't hide that.
Right.
Now, if you want to hide your gayness, I'm pretty sure you can, you know, or whatever, or they're just not going to know anyway. Unless, you know, but sometimes people think they can tell whether somebody's gay or not.
Right.
So, but with our skin color, you know, so with white people, you know, when they go somewhere, it's a white and a black person, you know, applying for the same job or whatever. They're going to see our skin color, but they might not necessarily know that either one of us is gay.
Right.
But I guess if they get the perception that the black person is gay, then they're going to hire the black person even over that white person.
Well, if you can see,
which I thought was interesting.
Right. So because that white person could be gay as well.
Hey, Deshaun.
You know, hey, Deshaun. The white person could be gay as well. So how, you know, I guess you don't perceive that this white person is gay, but you perceive that this black person is. So yeah.
let's see what Deshaun is talking about here. Oh, I got to bring this up, but didn't accent, which was from the UK, to my mother, and my mother said, "Stop speaking like a fag." Oh, stop speaking like a fag. The F bomb. Oh, his mother said, "Stop speaking like a." But I did an accent, which was from the UK, to my mother. Wow, your mother said that to you. I mean, there's lots of sometimes. I mean, that's still abuse to me, even though that's your mom. But a lot of families, hurl a lot of insults and stuff like that at their kids. Because they don't understand homosexuality or being gay or whatever, or that it doesn't agree with their lifestyle or the Bible, or what they believe the Bible says. So a lot of them will hurl those insults. And sometimes they don't mean it, but it just comes out of them sometimes because that's what they're conditioned to say or do or how they react. I mean, it's sad that your mother said that to you. And she may come back later and, want to retract that or ask for some type of forgiveness, once she, so I told her, you basically said.
And then he says, how the hell does she get a gay accent out of a UK accent? And I don't know, maybe, I don't know, what's the UK? I know they talk a little different than us a little bit, and maybe it's a little bit, non-threatening or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how your mom got gay out of just using an accent. But that just goes to show you how people prejudge or, people have their own perceptions of what gay is. Because evidently she thought by you using that accent, that equaled gay. And I don't know what exactly you said, but sometimes people will, if we start using like the terms, like, oh, you acting shady, oh, you must be gay because only gay people say shady, stuff like that, or all the stuff these housewives that they get our lingo or whatever, and they say it or whatever, they just assume you're gay, but you really can't, because I've watched a lot of people like on TikTok and YouTube, and they appear straight as a line, but they're saying all kind of stuff like it's giving this and it's giving that, and I'm like, when the straight people start saying it's giving this and it's giving that? So I mean, yeah.
So Sean says, why are Black people so bothered by gay people to the point where accent is now gay? What is going on here? Because in the United States, I mean, I don't really know so much, about the UK, but in the United States with black people, it's all about the masculinity thing. And then sometimes with, sometimes with other accents and stuff that I heard, they'll just talk regular. They're not putting on, this is their voice, this is their mannerism, or whatever. Just say, for instance, the UK, with their accent and stuff, they don't have that hard learned, is what I'm going to say, learned masculinity that in the United States that they want the black men think that they have to have. So when your voice differed than the normal, what they consider the deep, muscular sounding voice, or whatever, they automatically go and attach, well, he must be gay or something, because his voice is not as strong as it should be to be a black man.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's the reason, but that's just my opinion on it or whatever, or kind of how I've seen shit like that play out before, where somebody didn't have a strong masculine black voice, or they didn't carry themselves or whatever, and then they automatically attach where they must be gay or feminine and stuff like that. And it goes back to and sometimes black women think that about black men too. If they're not portraying this hard image of what they perceive as masculine, whatever, then they attach where they must be gay,
right?
So I mean, I don't know for sure if that's a valid reason, but that's my That's my take on it. If anybody else out there in here has any, take on it, go ahead and put that through. What about you? You think that what I said has any type of validity?
About the like the like how you're saying certain things, like the emphasis you put on certain words or whatever.
Yeah, what I just said.
Yeah.
Do you think what I said has any type of validity here in the United States versus, like, say, the UK?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you've heard this from women or whatever, or people that have made these same kind of observations or statements, then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's whatever that person perceives or how that person thinks. Doesn't make it right. But if that's the way they perceive it, that's the way they think. I'm sure there are people that are like that. I mean, that feel that certain way or whatever. So yeah.
And you're right, Deshaun. It doesn't make any sense. It's so much stuff in the world that does not make any sense, and the whys and why we do that. It just goes back to the privilege thing. It doesn't make any sense. People can try to make it make sense or whatever, but people shouldn't show favor, even though it happens. People shouldn't show favoritism over the other one just because of their star status. Now, that's just my opinion. Just because you're a star or you're well known or something, like that, you shouldn't be granted the privilege over me. And just say we're standing in the same line, you shouldn't be granted the privilege. And am I going to care? No. Do I know the reasons why they do it? Yeah, or whatever. But if all things being equal, one shouldn't be granted more privilege over the other. But just like with families, with comes wealth and stuff, like that. If you're wealthy, in high society, in proper high society, I guess, you're afforded, just like kings and queens and stuff, I guess you're afforded privileges that what they consider us normal or below normal people would get. And people shouldn't pick and choose, but they do.
And for Deshaun, as far as the accent thing too, I don't know if you and your mom worked that out or whatever, but I would say that accent it's a thing, because when I used to work in customer service, and like I'm Texas, that's all I know, born and raised here. We get calls from everywhere, and we would get calls from people upstate, and when they would call and they hear my voice, it could be one or two things. Either they said, oh, you country, or you got a country accent, where you at, or whatever. Or they would say, oh, I love your accent. I love your accent. And then if you look at certain maybe TV shows or just been around certain people, some people will take the Southern accent as we're slow or we're dumb or whatever. And then they'll take something like a New York accent and say, oh, they're smarter, they're educated, or, if you talk proper or whatever, oh, you talk white, or you must, you must have went to private school or whatever. So a lot of people take accents and put a lot of judgments on it. And I see that your mom has put a judgment on the UK accent and said that UK accent equals gay or whatever, because you were basically just talking like the people that you saw on TV. And because you made that accent like them, she thought you were talking like a gay person, so people have their, assumptions and preconceived ideas on even accents, and this
she may be going off of what she sees as what's considered normal in the United States, because in the UK, that probably would not even matter. Now they have their racial, privileges and stuff over there also, and stuff that happens, all over the world and over there also. But over here in the United States, masculinity there's a heavy there's some, you know, there's a lot put on to be masculine in the United States, and then how you sound, act, walk, talk, you know, whatever. It's that people will judge you just from that.
Yeah.
You know. So
and I like what Jay and Joe said, that now in this day and time, gay lingo is no longer gay lingo. It's just, you know, it's just I lost it. Where did it go? Oh, it's just slang at this point. Yeah. It's like pop culture now. It's like we have come so far that, you know, they accept, because I mean, we got that twang to, you know, the stuff we come up with, and it just becomes popular, and that everyone wants to use it, you know, gay, straight, whatever. Because like I said, I mean, these guys, they haven't shown me in no way that they're gay. You know, I don't know. I have no evidence or whatever. But just to hear them to be saying, oh, yeah, it's giving this and it's giving that. I'm like, it just kind of took me. But you're right. Now it's just pop culture now. It's just slang for everybody or whatever. And I have friends that, you know, that even not just gay lingo, but black lingo. If, you know, it's cool when we do it. But when the white people start doing it, it just don't seem, you know, it just don't seem right. It doesn't. I think it loses its whatever, its flavor, its savor, whatever, when white people start using it. It's like, okay, we need to find some more words. We need to find other words, because they just, you know, drilling it into the ground. It's like, okay, y'all, you know. But yeah, they take, you know, they take everything from us. Yeah.
So
I'll try to.
Yeah. Does that get you into the club? I'm gonna ask Joe and Jay, or anybody out there, and you too, Charles. Do you think that gets you access into the club quicker? Because of, you know, because you have gay, you know the gay lingo, or you think it might hinder you, you know, like if you were overly effeminate, you know, or overly effeminate, trying to word this right, like overly effeminate or something, you think that hinders some people from getting into the club? You know, like
I don't see why, because basically they want you to pay that money to get in, and whether you talk or don't talk. I mean, you know, it may entertain the line, because I've been in lines where we done started conversations with people and we're just joking or whatever, you know, because I mean, might as well, we got to sit out here and wait. You know, it may be entertaining there, but I don't think because I've said a certain thing or said in a certain way that you come in. I mean, you know, I think just because you got that $10, $20, $15, you getting in, you know, but I don't know, it could be. I mean, I don't see it, but I mean, it could be. Some people may like, you know what, because, and this goes to one of the things that Tommy was saying, our friend, hey Tommy again, he was saying that sometimes when people throw parties, he has noticed that they invite a certain clique or a certain group because they know if they are there, everybody's gonna come and it's gonna be the party of the year, the party of the century or whatever. So there are certain groups or cliques or, you know, little sects within the community that may be invited, and the privilege for them maybe, say it's a party where they want you to pay, maybe y'all don't have to pay because you are really going to bring the people in, because if they know you're here, then, you know, we know the people are going to come or whatever. So, you know, in that instance, yeah, I can see something like that.
So yeah, there's the question I had in there. It says, is knowing gay slang and or imitating exaggerated gay behaviors a privilege or hindrance in the Black queer community? And then I said, what about in mainstream? So like, and so you answered the question, and it's kind of like, you know, yeah, in our gay world, you know, yeah, you can be out there, you know what I mean? You can be over the top, you can be anything you want to be, And sometimes that will get you into somewhere quicker too, because they was like, oh, that's fun. Even if they don't know you, they'd be like, oh, you come on in here because, you know, and then other people might come in because they see that, you know, or whatever. But in the mainstream community, I don't think that you know, that works, you know, unless you're like a famous person, like on TV or something, you know, or whatever, and they're, you know, and they're making money off of you, like with their commercials or the movie, or they want to, you're in something or whatever. But otherwise, in mainstream society, I don't think us using gay slang or you know, or what they say or perceive as acting gay, I don't think that affords us any privilege, real privilege, unless we are famous or something like that, because that usually can go against you, you know, where we've seen people you know, beat or cursed out, you know, called names and stuff from walking down the street because they may have been what they perceive them as being overly feminine or something, you know, like that. So there's where a privilege could, you know, work in one area but not work in the other. And that's probably what everything, you know, privilege can work here and not work there.
Yeah.
You know,
because I even thought about, you know, gay people in social media, and it kind of, you know, sometimes it works for you because it's something different. We don't see it a lot or whatever. I know it's growing. You know, we're one of the ones we've added to, you know, to that demographics or whatever. But and we're seeing you guys. You come back every week. You're subscribing, you're liking, you're sharing. So we do see it, you know, in a positive way. But then it's also negative because then you start opening yourself up for the homophobic comments and harassment. You may even get censorship when you use too much LGBT. You know, some of these platforms won't allow everything that, you know, we want to put out there, or you may get suspended or banned. Cyberbullying, you know, and online hate speech or whatever, or you may even get discriminated against for whatever, you know, for dating or being in a relationship or whatever. So advertisers may pass you up, you know, we were thinking about, you know, advertising on your show, but once you did all the gay stuff and all that, you know, we'll pass you by, or, you know, just limited on the platform, you know. What is it? What is it called, y'all? Is it ghost ban or it's shadow ban? You know, where they come sometimes they shadow ban your content or whatever, where people can't find you. They're searching for you and they can't find you because they shadow banned you or whatever. So, you know, sometimes it goes, you know, it doesn't work for you or whatever.
And to see what Deshaun is saying here. He says, being over masculine, overly toxic, worrying about another person or someone that's feminine to the point where you go to your grave just because they're different than you. Yeah, go to your grave and have sent people to their grave just because, you know, because they're different than you. And I got a question up here. It says, do we, you know, as Black gays recognize our privilege? You know how we talk about white people all the time, you know, like, you know, they're white, you know, white privilege, and, you know, they rule the world. It's, you know, the world is their oyster, and we're just, you know, playing in and trying to, you know, get the, what's that thing, the pearl out of the oyster, you know, with them. But it said, but us as Black people, just say Black folks in general and the Black gays, you know, and straight Blacks, do we recognize our privilege, or do we just think only white people or other ethnicities have privilege, and we don't have any type of privilege? I know we talk about it. We know we do have privilege, but
yeah, I think it's probably half and half. Some people are gonna always play the racism card. They're gonna always play that card. I tend that, to me, I guess just the way I was brought up, that's like the first thing from my mind. I do know racism is real though, and I do know it, you know, when it's like open or whatever, but that's not going to be the first thing I go to. And just like, you know, with the privilege thing, some people are never going to see it because in their mind, they don't think they have it. They don't think they deserve it. They don't see it. And sometimes it's right there. for me, I think there's some spaces where we go in and we do receive the privilege. I was just out, and two straight women just came up to me, and I know they know, because the first thing they said was, because I had on sandals or whatever, or a slide, and they were like, "Oh, you're so handsome, and your toes are all done. I love I love a guy that keeps up with his hygiene and pedicures and all that. You're so handsome and all this." And then she was like, "Oh, you're so color coordinated or whatever." And it made me laugh, because you always talking about you always got to be matching or whatever.
Yeah, and just throw it any day. He won't even go to the club unless he done changed his clothes. He'll make us leave and go back so he can put something else in. Because oh no, I had these on all day. I need to go change or run us in the stores. You know how many times
let me buy some, right?
and then I'll say something like, "Well, why do you need to buy something?" He say, "Why are you in my pocket? Why are you worried about what I'm buying?" So
Yeah.
But I wear the same damn thing all day. Shit, I don't care.
So
and back on the next day.
So I felt like, I don't know what privilege I got out of it, but I just felt like, they saw me, and they saw the Black. Surely they saw the gay or whatever. And it was like, in that space or whatever, it was like, you were acknowledged or whatever. So I know there are places that we can go in that there is an acknowledgement, there's an appreciation, there's sometimes even an admiration or whatever, of us just being free, us being out and not being ashamed or whatever, and using your talents, your gifts. We are a very unique people. I mean, we have taken stuff and, some of the stuff that people have used to demean us, and make something beautiful out of it. Like RuPaul in his drag thing or whatever, just taking something and just he's like, I think his shows are like the #1 shows on the network. I don't watch, hey RuPaul, I don't watch them, but I'm aware of it. I'm aware of his contribution to the community and just to the world or whatever. I mean, he's gotten awards. I mean, we watched T.S. Madison. Image she has is from the show that she does with him or whatever. So I know the impact that we have. So I think so. Some of us, I think, see it, and there are probably some that don't see it because they either refuse to see it, or maybe they just want more. I don't know.
Sometimes, and this is not usually the case, but sometimes you can be in an all-white environment, and you might be one or two or three of a Black person of all, in that whole group, or whatever, and then you may get some special privilege from those white people because you're the only Black one, and you might be the token Black sometimes, right. And it's like, oh, so let me usher them in and not usher the white people in, because we do want to bring some color or some ethnicity or something to this groove or whatever, so you can, sometimes that has happened where you can get privileged that way too, because you are the only Black or one or two or three in the group, and white people, sometimes they want to make you feel special. Sometimes they'll overdo it, but then they'll want to make you feel special, so they're going to cater to you and not cater to who they normally might might do or whatever. So there's all type of privileges out there. But then, so we answered that, how, do we recognize our privilege? And some do and some don't. And then what ways do we exert or use our privilege? We kind of talked on that.
Well, what you said too made me think about one time we were at somewhere, and the white woman, I mean, because I guess they just assume Black people know how to dance. The lady started dancing with us and twerking, and she did have a big booty. I guess she thought she was Black or whatever. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, they do kind of, when they see us, we do kind of become the celebrity. Because they playing y'all music, so it's y'all time or whatever, and they come in with us or whatever. Yeah,
that's kind of like yesterday what you just said, about so like yesterday with today's Sunday, right? Yeah, that was yesterday. Last night, yesterday evening and tonight. Me and Brian was out there watching the drag queens and stuff, and then as we were walking away, Brian, it's like when the black drag queens was on, they were performing and people were screaming and yelling. They clapped and yelled for the white ones too. But when the black ones came on, most of the people out there were white. You know, there wasn't that many blacks out there. You know, but there was, you know, there was other ethnicities out there, but it wasn't as many. Most of them. I'm gonna put the video up, you know, on our page. But it's only like about 5-10 minutes. No, 4 or 5 minutes. But the white people, when the black queens came on the stage, the drag queens came on the stage to perform, you know, the white people just was screaming and going crazy and stuff like that. And then so as me and Brian was walking off, we were going to go look at other stuff. You know, he says, why is it that, you know, black people are such better performers than the white ones? You know, they put on a better show than these white ones, you know, and stuff, you know, like that. And I was like, well, you know, we can dance. I did tell you know, I said, well, we can dance better, and you know, we have more coordination and stuff, you know, like that. But yeah, usually the black ones are going to come out, you know, and they will show out and do death drops and do all this other type of stuff.
We have to overperform. It's like the Beyonce Taylor Swift thing. Taylor Swift can get up there and stand in one little spot and blow up.
Right.
Beyonce has to dance, sing, come out the sky, die and come back alive. She has to bleed. She has to do all kind of stuff for you guys to appreciate her. It's like we always have to overdo it, overperform or whatever. And it's just in us. And then, I mean, if you go back to just look at African dances, I mean, we just got that rhythm that just it just makes you. It's like we're like the beat of the drum, so it pulls you into it. And whether you got rhythm or not, you up there. You know, they say white people be on the 2 and the 4, and black people be on the 1 and the 3 or whatever. But we all come together when we're, you know, when a black person or even a Hispanic person, because they have that same rhythm, you know, and it just draws you in or whatever. But yeah,
and then it's like you said, so that's where her, you know, even though she has privilege, you know, and stuff like that, her privilege is also worked against her also, because even though to me, you know, now some people might not agree that, but to me, she is a better singer, performer, actress, everything. You know, she's better to me than what Taylor Swift is. And the notoriety and fame that Taylor Swift get, great. You know, you should get that too, because you are, you know, you're a good performer. But to me, you're not that level what Beyonce does. You can't even do the stuff that Beyonce does. But they afford Taylor Swift that award. Maybe they didn't give it to, you know, wouldn't give it to Beyonce. And so, you know, so all her privilege that she has and stuff, you know, like that, it didn't work in that instance. You know, it doesn't work in certain instances, no matter what privilege you have, you know, which is a shame, because Taylor Swift cannot do nowhere near nothing. And then sometimes it goes back to these people who are voting for these people, you know, or whatever. And it's usually white, you know, white men, usually white men, but it's usually white people who are voting on this and stuff. And even though they know that Beyonce is incredible and puts on that show, even though Taylor does too, but she's nowhere near dynamic and energetic as what and the voice either of what Beyonce can put out, right? You know, but still, that's too sometimes where racism can play. You know, racism can trump your privilege sometimes. Yeah, you know, and I have in here, do we tamp down our privilege in straight places? So say we're black, you know, say we're black. So do we change? We know we have some privilege in the black gay community. You know, we're going to be able to get into most clubs. We can dress, act, be who we want to be, do what we want to be, you know, and then that's a privilege right there. You know, because sometimes like in straight clubs, they don't even want you in. They will, you know, they'll let the women in. Oh, yeah. They'll let them in. This is women's night.
Some women get in free sometimes. Right. Yeah.
This is women's night.
And free drinks.
But a man can't come in with jeans and a hat. You know, you got, or tennis shoes. But the woman can come in any way she wants, you know. So, that's a privilege right there in the straight community. Yeah. But but in the gay community, our privilege is, you know, we can dress any way we want, basically. You know, most of the time, you know, you can dress and act and flame out, do whatever you want to do, and then, you know, you're going to get in eventually, you know, or whatever. But then, so with that privilege that we have there, we take that privilege, and I know the answer, but we don't take that same privilege we have in the gay community and go to the straight and do the same thing.
No, sir.
I mean, I would, but, and I do. You know, anybody who's been around me, they'll tell you that I act the same way no matter where.
And me too. Me too. Because
you're not gonna stop me from being, you know, nobody, and they've never tried to stop me, but I have seen other people where they act one way in the gay community, which is their, you know, the privilege that we have in the gay community. But then as soon as we get around straight folks, you know, and I know some of it is due out of fear or a retaliation of being abused or, you know, called names or humiliated and stuff, you know, like that. It's not safe for some people the way they feel it's not safe. But we will get in there and we'll tamp down what they say our gayness is or whatever.
The only people that do that are the more, I guess, flamboyant ones or whatever, because I'm gay and I this is me 24/7. I mean, you know, I don't have to tamper down anything with me, but I know there are some that, you know, they're not gonna wear the makeup, they're not gonna carry the purse, they're not gonna be, you know, all this or whatever in some places or whatever. So that's when I said, yeah, that's what I meant. Those people that are like that, because you will get ridiculed or you get the looks or whatever. I don't think they can put you out. I mean, it's free to if you pay the money, you're in there or whatever. But who wants to go somewhere where you're getting the stares and the looks and, you know, all that? No, nobody wants that. It's uncomfortable. So you may, you know, do that. You may kind of like tone it down or whatever.
And I'm gonna put an exception in there, unless you're really famous and everybody know you as that type of character or that type of person,
or
so
you're
like,
comfortable with yourself.
And you're comfortable. So like I would say, because we talked about Saucy Santana last week, so I would say Saucy Santana's gonna walk in that club with her eyelashes, or his, because he doesn't know about her,
right?
But his eyelashes and beat down, you know, and whatever he wants to wear. There's certain people they're gonna do that anyway, and their privilege is the privilege they have of being famous and known, you know, whatever, that's going to allow them in there. Whereas me and you, if we did that, you know what I'm saying? The privilege that we have in the gay community is not going to work in the straight community. But then also with Saucy Santana, with the, you know, the privilege of just say pretty, you know, body shaming or anything and stuff, you know, like that. You talked about it last week where you said that Saucy Santana is comfortable, you know, with his big body and stuff, you know, like that, you know. And then I had said too, but if Saucy Santana wasn't famous, he wouldn't get that same privilege, you know. He might, you know, there might be some guys that would come after him or want to date him and stuff, you know, like that. But it wouldn't be, I don't even know if it's that many now, you know. I don't know anything about Saucy Santana really like that, you know. But I think his privilege of being a star, you know, being famous and making music and stuff like that affords him more people gravitating towards him and probably would want to date him or something, you know, like that, because he has money. You know, his status of having money. If he didn't have that money, that privilege wouldn't be like that. And there's lots of people who are built like that, you know, who do the same thing with the eyelashes, do the same stuff, and they don't get that same privilege.
And I would say, I would just say, in people that are comfortable, because I know there's people watching, and I know I've gone to like birthday dinners with friends, and their friend group is a variety of people. And so you're gonna have a friend that looks like me. You're gonna have a friend that looks like you. You're gonna have a friend that looks like Saucy Santana. That person is comfortable. And if they're comfortable to come in Pappadeaux's or comfortable to come in, you know, whatever restaurant, that, you know, they're also comfortable with going to the, you know, the straight club too, or whatever. Not a celebrity, not someone famous or whatever, but just comfortable in who they are. It may be rare, I don't know, whatever. Same thing with drag queens. Some of them are clockable. They don't give a damn. I got to eat just like everybody else. Or I want to party because I want to pull a certain man. So they'll go in there, even though sometimes they're clockable, sometimes they're not, or whatever. But I think also if you're just comfortable with the way you are, you will kind of go in those environments. I think it's rare. But yeah, I've been to celebrations where, you invite your friends to celebrate your birthday and they didn't say, oh, well, no, I can't go because, I'm more of the flamboyant person. Maybe they came right on in there and they cake with everybody else. They didn't care. This is who I am. What they going to do, So there are some that are comfortable and I didn't say bold or brave enough because you shouldn't have to be bold or brave enough to go somewhere. But they were. I mean, they are. They're like, I mean, what can these people do to me? So you do have some.
Yeah, I got to say it.
Okay. Hey,
so
thank you guys for coming.
Yeah. So then
and then there's like you said, there's so many privileges. There's people. Sometimes we get privileged because of our age. Sometimes we get privileges because of where we live. I know I've been to some streets in Dallas, like the Highland area, where these people are privileged because in front of their houses, they have signs that say you cannot park here or your car will get towed. I'm like, where do you see that at? You don't see that on the south side or in most neighborhoods. If you happen to park in front of somebody else, you just park in front of somebody's house. You could be visiting. Say it's a holiday weekend. When your family come over for holidays, everybody's celebrating a holiday. So you got people coming in. So you may park anywhere on the street. These people got signs that say, you cannot park here. I mean, it's so there's so much privilege. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's crazy.
And so what do you think about this? They did another study. And it's on average, it says pretty people earn 15% more or are paid 15% more than what average looking to below average looking people earn. What do you think about? I mean, that's hard to prove, but when they did the study, they went into, what I was listening to, they were talking about how they, even the employers will tell you that, because people have this image of what, like pretty people, and just because they're pretty, they also think that, that they're going to be smart. They're going to be a lot of things that they may not be. You know what I'm saying? And but then so they'll come into the job force and then and get paid more than you. Not you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. To me, I don't really see. Yeah, people. The way some people think and the way they go about, living this life is so weird to me. I can't see myself hiring someone over their, because of their looks over someone else or whatever. Now, where I would say that this can, fall under or have some kind of validity is if, you're one of those people that are doing beauty ads or commercials or some type of movie or celebrity or whatever, because I want because I'm selling a product, right? And I want my product to be sold. So I'm gonna dress you up in the best clothes. I want you to look. I'm gonna hire the best looking person, because you know how some shoppers are. Sometimes you're not just going for the product. Sometimes you're going because of the person that is represented it. There's people coming out with all kinds. Beyonce just came out with some shampoo, a hair line or whatever. I guarantee you it's going to be some people that are just going to buy it because it's Beyonce, not so much because of the, the shampoo or the product or whatever. So sometimes you will get a greater influence, a greater, earning potential because of your prettiness or whatever in those instances. But for somebody that's going to sit behind a computer, or whatever. I don't see why you would hire them over somebody just because they're pretty or whatever. You know, so I don't know, because the survey, I don't know. I guess they were just saying, you know, just in all jobs or whatever, and I don't get that. For me, only time I can see that will, you know, kind of like make a difference is when you're like the face of something. You know what I mean? So I can get it there or whatever. But
Yeah, I remember this was years ago when I was doing we were in there doing open heart surgery. And you know, one of the surgeons only wanted the nurse in the room because he thought she was pretty. You know, he thought she was pretty, but also because of her big tits and the way she looked. You know, she was white, and then, you know, she had that what they consider the
hourglass figure.
Considered the whatever. She had that or whatever, but she hadn't even started, you know, she hadn't even been there that long. She's a nurse. She hadn't even been there that long, you know, and another person who was skilled, who knew what they were doing, they, you know, whatever, they switched her out of the room, you know, and put her in there in the place, even though she was just learning. She had just got out of nursing school not too long ago, and she was just learning, and they took her out because that, you know, and whereas there's that pretty privilege that comes in, regardless of if they knew she was smart or could handle doing open heart surgery. Now she eventually did. She got really good and skilled at it because she was in there with the rest. You know, she was in there with the rest of us. You know, so she's gonna learn. But we were in there. But the person who normally they would have had come in, they didn't have that person come in. They switched her out. You know, because she was fat. You know, older, you know, or whatever. There's the ageism, you know, and the bodyisms coming in there. But they considered her not pretty, and then they gave her in the heart room. They moved her in there, you know, and then the surgeon ended up marrying her, divorced his wife of 20-something years with kids, and married that woman. You know, and she was my friend. Don't get me wrong. She was my friend, and he was my friend too. You know, whatever. We'd be over there having parties and stuff, you know, like that. Okay. I'd be over there with his wife, and you know, I went over there. You know, hell, I crashed a baby shower at their house once. Me and my friend Michelle, we crashed a baby shower. We had so much fun too. But that pretty privilege came into effect. They didn't know whether she had the talent to do this job, right. You know, really had the talent, because she had to be trained in there. You know, just because you went to school doesn't mean that you still have to be trained on real life, on the job, real life stuff here. Yeah. And they don't know whether she had the talent or even the stamina to stay in there and do that stuff. He was just going off of what she looked like, what her face looked like, and then that body, you know, and stuff. And then you discriminated really against somebody else, right? And put that person in there over that pretty privilege. See, that's a war type of stuff. Right. That's so crazy. So yeah, but that, you know, that was let me get up here to some of these comments. Yes. Because Deshaun, you need to come on up. Yeah, come in and talk to us, Deshaun. If you want the link, I can send you the link. You can come in and talk. You know, come on in here live and get up on screen with us if you want to. You know, send me a text saying you want to come in, and I'll send you the link. Or I can put the link back up here real quick, and then you can type it in, copy, paste, how this thing works. I don't know.
When I was looking up privileges, while you looking at the comments to bring up, you know, a lot of them came up, you know, like, of course, we said the white privilege, the cisgender privilege, heterosexual privilege. I didn't even think about this one, but able-bodied privilege, just because you don't have any disabilities. So basically, you're discriminating against people with disabilities. So you have some type of privilege because you're, you know, and you know, nowadays, sometimes it's not mandatory, but that's some of the questions they ask. They ask you, do you have any disabilities? You can put yes, no, or I choose not to, but they want to know that or whatever. Class privileges, you know, where you are in the economic, you know, social and economic male privileges, education privileges, and even citizenship privileges. Like, sometimes they have problems accessing health care or voting rights in some government services because you're not from that particular country or whatever. So yeah, what are some of the things, Deshaun?
Oh yeah, let me put Deshaun's comment back up. Oh, he said send it.
Okay, come on up. But yeah, and then like what we were talking about the club, I have like, you have the skip line thing, you have the free drinks or the VIP access, the priority seating or table service. I think we mentioned earlier, whatever. So, just so many privileges that sometimes we may receive because of what people, view us as or think we are, and like you were saying, like body privileges or whatever, your size, your shape, your appearance, you look healthy, you seem to be in good physical, mental health, your age, your gender, just the way society or that person who's ever, judging you, feels that you look or whatever.
And then, I have in here intersectionality, an analytical framework for understanding how groups and individuals' social and political identities result in unique combinations of discrimination and privilege. And that is, we've been talking about that through the whole thing. Like people being famous or you're in a certain clique or group and stuff, so you may get invited, or whatever. But it's and then just how white society, the intersectionality between white racism, privilege versus how Black privilege intersects with white, with whiteness also. I mean, I won't throw racism in there, because racism usually that mainly comes from white people or other ethnic groups other than Black people. We're usually the ones who are discriminated against and treated, even though some other ethnicities are too. But on the whole, we're treated, considered down at the bottom of the barrel. Not with all white society, whatever, but a lot of other ethnicities mirror white society too, and call us niggers and or don't want to hire us or see us as threatening and stuff too.
Right.
Just like in the white society. So
it's kind of the same thing with gay people too, because it's like we may have privilege within our community, but sometimes we don't really have privilege outside of our community. Some, they're making strides to do that, give us more, whatever. But I think as just a gay people or LGBTQ plus A or whatever it is, the alphabets, I think there's still that, we still lack some of the things that others may receive.
There's Deshaun. Yeah, let's go let Deshaun in.
And then even privilege with having money,
Hey, Deshaun.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going, fellas?
Fine. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for popping up in here with us. Let's get your opinion and how you feel about all this.
Or reiterate some of the comments you made or whatever. Yeah.
Listen, I just wish that people, I just wish people just let people just live. You know what I mean? Just let people live. Let live just live. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, you're not going to change a person by what the person is. If the person's character is what the character of this person's character is, that's who he is or she is. You can't change for who they are just because they're different than you, or they sound different than you, or what you expect another person to sound like, because no one can sound the same. Nobody can sound the same. It's impossible. You cannot have, like for instance, like if I see a thug, and if my son like I said, if my son talks it in a different way, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna bash my son just because I'm looking up to a thug and then all that other stuff. But I see most dudes do that because they want a role model as this person right here or this person right here and stuff like that. And then you're not gonna get the same. That's impossible. Yeah, you can make them as that, but you don't know the mindset of what you expect that the next generation is going to be. You know what I mean? That too.
Yeah. And
You know,
if you
they try to control people's authenticity. The thing is, for instance, like when my mother told me I sound like an F-bomb because I can't say it on here, that kind of hurts me because the thing is, how are you going to say that when I was speaking in a UK accent that don't make any sense? That means you still have something inside of you that you just hate gay people so much. She did
Your
this
mom's
before.
not from the UK, is she?
Huh?
Your mom's not from the UK, is she?
No, she's not from the UK. She's from America.
Mm-hmm.
And she watched a movie where they speak UK. I spoke like them.
Uh-huh.
And yes, I'm of color. I'm black.
Right. And then she equated that with being gay because you spoke in a UK accent. So she equated that with being gay.
She said she thought like she said, oh, it sounds like it. But when I speak like this, hey, she said, oh, that day don't sound like that. She said they don't sound like that. And I have cousins and stuff. Wait a minute. What do you mean?
Right.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
See, it's the reverse. It's just that weird. I don't know what you call that word. But when straight people do this, it's like you try to own everything. Like T.S. Madison said, you got the nerve, but y'all taking our lingo. Y'all taking our lingo. No shade or clocky and all that other stuff I've been hearing. And I've been noticing that too. I've been noticing that too. Some of these dudes are wearing, some of these dudes that do not like gay people be wearing their clothes and all that other stuff and all that other, all that stuff. You'll be saying all the other stuff. And the thing is, they also do pranks.
Mm-hmm.
Gay pranks to their fathers.
The other thing is like what on the topic of what you're talking about, it's like, how they, the straight world, they take our language, our lingo, our dance. They take a lot of stuff from gay culture. Because I remember, when I was younger, just having an earring in your ear was considered, you were considered gay, a fag or a punk or a sissy.
Depending on what side it was on.
And then they had it where, it had to be on a certain side, that meant you were straight, and then the other side meant you were gay. And if you had two earrings in, they said you were straight. You were gay. Now, all the straight men, not all, but a lot of, a whole lot of them wear earrings and stuff. They wear the baggy clothes, they're wearing the colorful stuff. Even they're going to get their feet and nails and stuff done, or they're doing, they're keeping up with their face and the manicure, what they call oh, go ahead, sir.
Metrosexual.
But that's nothing new. That's been going on since in the tribal days. You've seen, and I noticed that because there were certain tribes in Africa where they had be wearing hoops and all that other stuff and earrings and all that other stuff. There's earrings in Africa where they have these, I forgot what you call them. They're not earrings, but they're like, it's like a big ball, and then they put it on their ear and it stretches out their ear. They have that. Right. They also had makeup on. They also had these, it's not a dress, but it's like, it looks like it's hay, and they be dancing around and twerking around and all that stuff. I was watching what Conscious TV was talking about. Mm-hmm. But this ain't nothing new.
And with that, you're talking about like what they would wear. We did a topic on this, like not too long ago, because the Africans, they actually had the male Africans, even though they weren't gay in their tribe, in their culture and tribe, they wore makeup and exaggerated makeup. They put it on just like women would put it on, and then they put on the clothes like would look like dresses and stuff, and they looked real, what society would call, they looked feminine or gay, or they looked like they could have been drag queens or something, you know. But those people had privilege over the rest of the people.
That's what I was gonna say. Sometimes the earrings and the makeup, it shows your status. So I guess it just changes with every society and, you know, throughout the years or whatever. But makeup and jewelry and all that, the way you dress, it shows your status, your class.
Exactly. And they also had makeup.
Indians, you know, the Indians and stuff, you know, like that too. What they call Native American now, but you know, back then, you know, it was called, you know, they're still Indians in the world. But you know, they're you know, the stuff that they wore, they painted themselves and stuff, and a lot of them were elevated to privilege status over this or over that, you know, or whatever. So, and then,
can I put in a side note with the Native Americans though? Let me just put a little hint there. Did you know that they accepted two-spirit women, which they were trans? In certain tribes, in the Native American tribes, they did accept two spirits.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was a Native American term. I forgot what you call it, but it's the Aka or something like that. I don't know what that Native American is, but I read, because I looked it up. It was right up there on Google, and they did accept trans as their, you know, because they believe that they were the teachers. That's what they said. And I'm part Native American, but the thing is, because we've been colonized and because we was taught by this Abrahamic Bible law, we don't remember that that's what it was back in the times.
Right.
And yes, there was bisexuality in every tribe.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because of the England colonization and colonialization, where they took over and put this Bible on everybody else to control everything. That's the reason why everything is like, oh, just gay people is bad. Just gay people is this. But the thing is, they'll joke about rape of a man getting raped in prison, but you can't be free being gay though. You can't be free, or you got to be DL, because if you read between the lines of that Bible, or you read between the lines, you can suppress being gay. You can suppress it so no one will know it. Or you can sleep around. You can sleep with a woman and a man, but you still got to be with a woman so no one will know what you're doing. So that's what it is. But ain't that a big problem? Because then now women got to deal with this shit. But that means that women don't have a choice. Women don't have a choice.
Right. You're right.
And women they're not afforded the same privilege as men, whether they're black, white, you know, or whatever. Now, black women and black men aren't afforded the same privilege as white men and white women. But even if when you get into the gender category, women are still, you know, not afforded the same privilege that even straight black men are. In most situations, you know, stuff, you know, like that, except for maybe in employment or something like that. But my friend yesterday, when we were at that pride parade in Arlington, you know, we were talking about racism and, you know, homophobia and the difference between blacks and whites. And then what he said was, he says, actually, he said what we talk about on our program, and you know, and with the racism and homophobia and stuff, he says it's pretty much the same in the white community and the black community, with the exception of the racism part. But he said, like with the homophobia, the fat shaming, you know, the body shaming, the privileges and stuff like that. He says that it's pretty much the same, where we all intersect, you know, a lot on the same stuff. He said, but he said, now this is what got me. He says, but the difference is, you know, he says white people, and he's white, okay, but he said, and white people, they tend to be more pathological than what black people are, you know. And I was like, you know, that kind of, you know, and I was like, oh, you know, and then so we sat by my car, because we had left the place by that time, and we were sitting by my car because we were talking about relationships and stuff, you know, like that. and then he was saying that white people tend to be more pathological. What he sees, his opinion of what he's been through, and then and stuff that's gone on in his life, and the people he know, his whatever, that white people tend to be more pathological with their shit than what black people do. Even though we have some of the same issues, we do some of the same wrong things to each other, say some of the wrong things, but white people, they get pathological with it.
Yeah, because anytime we do shows, sometimes I'll try to educate myself on some of the stuff, or just get more viewpoints on whatever. And a lot of especially when I'm on YouTube, because I don't know who the people are that write the articles, if I'm just searching on Google or whatever. But when I go to YouTube and it gives me a face to it, it's the white people, and it's like they're talking about the same things we talk about. So I know, because people are people or whatever. I mean, I don't, it's we're humans or whatever. So we're gonna deal with some of the same issues, but like you say, the way we deal with them is sometimes so entirely different. And like Deshaun was saying, because that Bible and because of just what we want our black men or black women to be, we have a hard time dealing with some of these issues. We take them a wholly different route than white people, So yeah.
And do y'all think that like privilege kind of mirrors racism and homophobia? Like like the preference of being heterosexual, or whatever. You know what I mean? And then, but it's, I know it's not the same thing, granting somebody privilege, but then just being heterosexual, kind of what people might think that's
basically what it is privilege. Because the thing is, because they try to tell you that you're this and you're that and you're this and you're that, and it's gotten to the point where you can't even be authentic, even if you are just straight. Let's just say that you can be feminine and just be straight. Like, you can be authentically masculine and feminine, and people will think that you're gay just because of that. That's how bad it is. And the thing is, and also not only that, now there's a new term where you can't say certain things like banana, I need a banana, or on my back, or anything like that, because guess what? It's a pause. You can't say anything without pause. You can't do anything without feminine without being gay. You can't do this without being gay. You can't do that without being gay. You can't do this and that and that. It's going to get to the point where there's going to be so much violence in the black community one more again, just like the last time.
No homo. All that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
not going to be funny.
Because
it's getting on my fucking nerves.
So do you think it's a privilege to be black or black and gay?
You can't.
You don't think so?
Because now that I know, you can't be black and gay. You can't. You can't, because they'll still do that same shit. They'll still do that same teachings. You know how the fathers are, like Little Boozy, and then all those niggas be following Little Boozy to do something to their sons, like find out if they think or thought that they're gay, they're going to have to force them to have sex with a grown woman. Now, I have a problem with that, because the thing is, this is the shit that I'm really sick of. And there's always that double standard, and I'm sick of it. All you motherfuckers are going to jail because it's sick and it's pedophilic. But you talk about gay people going to kids, but you're doing the exact same thing. Tell me that.
Right. That's right.
You better preach. You better preach.
That is so true.
So with the privilege thing, do you think that white people see it more, seeing being gay, seeing their gay privilege, they're okay with being gay once they know that they're gay or figure out that they're gay or whatever, and with their gay privilege? But then black people, you think we still have a problem with being gay?
Yes.
White people might not have a problem once they come out or do whatever, you know, and people that, you know, I guess family, church, or whatever, they almost don't give a shit what their family thinks, you know, whatever, you're gonna treat me like so and so, or I ain't gonna talk
True,
to you
they
at
have
all.
it easier. They have it easier
Right.
because the thing is, you can have like for instance, you can be gay and everything else and all that other stuff in the white society because the thing is, you know, you have the ability, you know, to do whatever. And also, let's just say you can have your hair out, you can do this, you can do that. You can also be like, for instance, you can even be straight and have your hair long and everything else. You can't even have your hair long in the black community without being gay too. Like that's how bad it is. But like I said, you got Prince, you got Michael, you got all these other people. You got who else? James Brown. You got all these other people that was living authentically in their feminine and masculine, but masculine because they're heterosexual. And don't forget about Rick James. I'm Rick James, bitch. But again, y'all looked up to him with those high heels and all that other stuff. Like all the rest of them that wear those high heels, except Michael. Michael had a different femininity. He still had his masculine. He was like Yu-Gi-Oh. The thing is, I don't know why y'all have a problem with femininity of men. Don't you like that? Don't you want that? But yet you're thinking that is gay. You don't know who's gay or not because there's masculine men that's sleeping with men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the DL men, especially closeted men, that's what they are. They are sleeping with men. You know, they sleeping with us. So,
Right.
So let me pose this. You know, this one right here, as far as privilege. You know, because you know sometimes with like porn stars and people we watch on porn videos and stuff, we might put them on a pedestal or something like, ooh, you know, they're this, you know, and in the background, what they portray in the videos and stuff might not even be their true character or who they really are. It's just they're just acting, right? They're getting paid. So and then, but I know we do, you know, we have put them up like on pedestals, kind of, you know, or the privilege. You know, like they may be let into a club and stuff too, just because somebody knows them from the porn video, or be invited to a party or something.
Oh, yeah.
But what I want to talk about is, you know, the privilege of having a big dick. So is that a privilege? Is that a privilege? Do you see, you know, versus to having an average dick or what people say a small dick or whatever, is having a big dick is that a privilege? And and also do black gay men worry about that more than what white gay men?
That's not just black, that's straight people too, because the thing is there's women that are also like, if the dick ain't big, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, but my boyfriend is like, you know, my boyfriend's bigger than yours, but it's okay, you know. Like that's how the in the community, like it's gotta be big, it's gotta be in order for her to be aroused. It's gotta be, you gotta be Superman, you gotta have I mean, it's really sad. It's really, really sad to not love for who you are, but you gotta love but you have to, it's so weird. You can't love me for me, but you have to love me down there. That ain't love.
Right.
That is not love, bro. That is not love, and I don't give a fuck what it is. That's not love.
Because if I don't have it, then you don't love me.
And then also with the, you know, just say they, you know, they have a 12 or whatever people consider big. Just say they have it. Do they use? Is that a privilege? You think? And it's just a hypothetical question. But do you think that's a privilege to them because they know they have this real huge whatever, and people are seeking it out, and they can use that as access or something? Use that privilege, that dick privilege, the big dick energy as privilege or whatever to get access to this, that, or the other, or it might go against that type of privilege. You know, sometimes, you know, in society, you know, it might work one way, but then maybe sometimes later on in the job market, if they're looking at your social media or looking at, you know, when they're doing searches for you to hire you for jobs, and they come across stuff like that, you might not get hired because of, you know, if you're out there, you know, getting into porn videos and OnlyFans and stuff, you know, like that. But you know, I do notice that you know, the bigger these guys' dicks are, the more it seems like the more privilege they in certain, not all, but in certain situations. And then does that mean that they're good at sex just because you have a 12-inch dick or something? Does that mean that you're good at sex? Because you might not be no good.
Yeah.
That's true, because you can have a bigger size all you want. If you're not pleasing that person, I don't care who it is, they're just gonna be up and leave. And even though it looks good, it's just like you got to know how to work in the bedroom as well.
Okay.
Right.
That's just like with trade or what we can call masculinity. Do we give? Do the trade and or what masculine guys, do they get the privilege of being what they consider more mainstream and elevated with privilege in society than what a gay person would get because they might be seen as effeminate or something? So there's privilege there also.
I just wish, this is my thing. I just wish there was no privilege. I just wish there was no competition, and I just wish that people can live just the way they live. If you want, like, for instance, there's people that are married that are living where it's not what they really want. That's not really their image, because really people be cheating all the time in marriages. All the time. There's so much cheating in marriages, is ridiculous.
Right.
In like the pastors, and then you got the freaking lawyers, you got everything else. But the thing is, why can't there be polygamy? Why can't there be something where everyone can be even and happy?
Right.
Because of the Bible, because of religion.
But
even though in religion, that's where it started at in the Bible. Back in the older time, there was polygamy. There was, multiple marriages, and they had concubines and eunuchs, and even though they were married, they had all that stuff back. Somewhere down the line, that all changed, and now it's a no, or whatever for that to be, in some cultures are still like that.
Yeah.
But in the United States, UK, I would probably just say the Eurocentric parts of the world, or whatever, we are against that, even though we're doing it secretly,
Right.
or whatever, and don't want anybody to know we're doing that type of stuff, or having open relationships and all that stuff, but it's still looked down upon in the United States. And that's mainly because of how they perceive the Bible, or what, so-and-so is saying in the Bible.
True.
So just saying having privilege, just say you have just say you're black, or you're black and gay, and you have some privilege, like in the gay community or whatever. Does that give you access to the white power structural power? Do we still, even with our little access that our privilege we think we have, does it work? Does it work in in mainstream white society? Because they still, white people still control mostly everything here in the United States.
Please.
I want to say about privilege.
When Trump gets back in office, there will be no privileges at all, because the thing is, when that Project 2025 comes out, it's going to be really, really bad, because the thing is, they're going to outlaw pornography, but yet you have, sex scenes, and everyone agreed with me on T.S. Madison, because the thing is, everything of what I said, good luck with the DL people and the gays that did not want to be who they want to be. And then everyone had 100 likes on my comment, because it's the truth. And the thing is, there was another one where I said, you know what, this is going to be, it's going to be like so much control where it's going to be bad. It's going to be more the family is going to be broken more, because the thing is like, people do not want to be in a heterosexual relationship. You can't force people to be in a heterosexual relationship. That's ridiculous. Just by force. And these people are grown.
Right.
These people are grown people. If they want to do what they want to do, let them do whatever they want to do. You don't have the choice to do that. And then on top of that, you're telling women to not have, to have an abortion, even if they was raped. Like, really?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. And then on top of that, there's more to it. Immigration. They're gonna stop the immigration. They're gonna do a whole lot of things. it's just so freaking weird. You're gonna, I mean, how are you gonna stop? How are you gonna outlaw pornography, but yet you have pornography on TV all the time? Where the
Right.
kids be seeing it, because depending on where you're at, depending on if you're in the hood, depending on if you grow up in this weird place and you don't know what sex is, and then they don't mind you watching it, you're gonna see it.
Mhm.
I was gonna say about privilege. Hey Tim, that it's always going to be a thing because people are always going to deem something important or something more valuable than this or whatever, like the dick privilege or whatever. I mean, just having a size of whatever doesn't make you anything special. It's the people that consider that being special. So as long as you have people that consider, your gender, your age, your education, how much money you have, whatever, as long as they deem that to be something, out of the ordinary, they're gonna put privilege on it. And they're gonna make it seem like it's such a big thing. Because you could take two actresses. You could take Viola Davis and what's another actress? Whoever. But if I value one other than the other, I may give her more privilege. Like she can get in this door, she can get in this door, and this other person can't, or whatever. It's nothing really more special than the other. They both were great acts, they both probably perform to some degree or whatever, but me being the person in power put more on this person than that person. So I have exerted privilege on this person, which I mean, like you said, why can't we all just be on an equal playing field?
Exactly. Why can't everyone just be in an equal playing field? You can't, I mean,
Tim,
men
okay.
can't take a break and breathe. That's what it is.
But he has his video.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sean. What'd you say?
I heard him. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
Like I mean, for all men, and it doesn't matter what sexuality you are, there's no breather. Like there's no relaxation when it comes to men, because other people want to expect you to be something that you're not. Because let's just say if I decided to be, if I want to skateboard or I want to, be gothic or something, they're going to deem that as gay, or they're going to deem that as something else or something like that. Because I actually have a YouTuber that, he's all about, gothic, and he's an atheist and all that other stuff. And the thing is, he was dating a girl, and this guy, and the family was against him, but the girl wanted him. But then over time, she said, "Oh, I don't want you to wear this. I don't want you to wear this," because it's like because he was wearing nails and all that other stuff. But the thing is, how are you going to tell another person that you're dating that you wanted to stop doing what he's doing? This is who he is. So what was the purpose of you dating the person if you know what I mean? That don't make any sense. And then once they, went their separate ways and he was on his own thing, then she decided to call back and say, "Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you do all this?" Because you didn't want me. What the?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you wanted me to do something different that I did not want to do. See, and then that's another thing. People want to change you for who you are, and that's the thing, and that's not who you really are.
So, hey, Tim, you want to come in and say anything? We see you up here,
Right, he asked for the link. Did you want to contribute? Yeah, I'm saying he asked for the link, so that's why he's here. So since you're here, did you want to contribute anything? This is one of my best friends, Tim.
I like your haircut.
Thanks,
I don't see no haircut, baby. It's dark.
I can see it. It's dark, but I can see. I
can't see it.
I can see
It
it.
doesn't matter if you see it or
What's
not.
going on, Tim?
And cut.
And so, what do you think about this, Tim? And then, and the other one is: are gays cliquish? Do we prefer hanging around privileged and status gays, or whatever? And then, how do we choose our friends? Do we choose them by their privilege, or, What y'all think about that?
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Me personally, when I choose my friends, Charles is one of my best friends. Charles and I have been friends since 2000. I moved to Dallas. Charles and I became friends based off we had a lot of things in common. We both were into church and stuff like that. We both like to shop, and Charles had a good personality. That's how Charles and I became good friends. And my other best friend is John. John and I became friends through someone that I was actually dating, and it just went from there. And John and I had, a good friendship as well. And I don't really have a lot of friends. I have people I call associates, and I think that sometimes there are cliques in the gay community, in the straight community. It could be gay, heterosexual, whatever the case is. But that's just my opinion, though. But I think majority of the time it's the labels that really get us because of the fact they think that, oh, I rock Louis Vuitton, I carry Fendi, I drive a Mercedes, I drive this, I drive that. All of that's not going to matter in the end to me. That's just my opinion. Because at the end of the day,
Because it matters to some people, though.
Yeah, but they think it gives them privilege, and it doesn't. Because what happens when all that goes away?
No, but it does give them privilege in some places because the way and I have that. That's one of the privileges I have. One time, sometimes people will, like, for a club instance or whatever, they invite you in because of what you got on or whatever, because they're gonna show you off or whatever. So it's really benefiting. They're trying to benefit them or whatever. But it's just like you say, labels. I dated somebody. He was all about labels. I was telling Alvin about it the other day, and went to extremes to get the labels. Stunning and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, hey, what does it matter? These people don't even. I mean, some people do care, but then I was like, why? This gonna get dirty in a minute. I mean, you got to always keep up with, the styles. Today is this, then the next day is this. I mean, the next week is this or whatever. You're never going to please people. So stop doing it, because some of it was not just for him. It wasn't just because, oh, I want the label. Some of it was because of the way you look in front of people. You want to please them. And I've never been that type of, I mean, it's a little some of that in me or whatever, but I don't like that people pleasing shit, especially as I got older. I don't, but back then, you did kind of like want to fit in. Like you said, there are cool where you try to fit in or whatever. But I think because Dallas does have a history of being, I heard people all the time when they move here, they're like, oh, Dallas is so cliquish or whatever. But then they go to Houston, they say it's not like that or whatever. But I mean, you do kind of find your little group or whatever. But I wish it wasn't like that. But I mean, it is. It just is.
Deshaun, how do you choose your friends?
I try to be friendly with everyone.
Yeah,
that's the best
and
way.
I try to tell people, like, hey, you don't have to overdo that, because it's kind of like, I don't know. It's just, I pick my friend. Like, if my friends are like even with me, I'm friends with them. Like, if we have a click with each other, like if we're talking about something that's going on in the world, I'm friends with them instantly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's very hard, and I'm in Connecticut. It's very hard to make friends up here, because the thing is, a lot of people, they have their own thing. They don't care about what I'm saying. They just don't care, or they just let it go with the wind and all that other stuff. But there's only one or two friends that actually agree with me about what's going on. Like, he got ran over by a car, and he agreed with me about women that's sleeping with, we were having this conversation about this double standard, where if a man is sleeping with a little girl, he goes to jail, and if a older woman be sleeping with a boy, she doesn't go to jail or whatever, all that other stuff. And we were talking about it, and he was like, my friend is in that same situation. He had a daughter by her, and she took her daughter somewhere else and all that other stuff. And I'm like, wow. And I'm like, how come she ain't in jail? because this is just weird. This is just weird. Again, men again are always the bad guy. It's always men that's always the bad person. But you know what? It's always the ones that's the higher power that controls everything, the ones that have all that money. Because those men don't even give a shit about us men down here. If we don't like something, if something weird is going on, oh, that's okay because of what the people that's in power that have the money think that's okay. Remember, they already passed. I don't know if it's Kansas or somewhere where you can actually marry a 12-year-old. So I don't know where. I think it's somewhere. I don't know where it is. I got to find out where it is. I'm gonna look that up. But that is very freaking sick. But then you have all these, you're passing all these anti-gay bills, all these trans bills, and all this about, our kids being protected. But you ain't going to remove that bill of you can marry a fucking kid in this sick ass country. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, that's true.
But it's heterosexual though. It's heterosexual, but that is fucking sick. But that's not on the even plane right there. But you're gonna actually take all that and blame everything on gay people because this is a distraction. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
It's a distraction.
Yeah.
Because we are in this land that's nothing but rape kid culture. That's exactly what it is. It's called concubine of rape kids culture. That's exactly what it is. Because the thing is, because all those people that follow Boozy and all those other fucking people that said that shit is okay, all those people should have been in jail all fucking ready.
So
And women. Because I have all these articles. Wait, I'm not done. There's an article of a teacher that had sex with a 12-year-old boy 27 times. 27 times. 27 times. There was another article of a woman that impregnated a boy that was impregnated by a 12-year-old boy. The boy impregnated her. She didn't go to jail for it. Another woman down in the school tried to sexually harass a boy to the point where he fainted.
Wow. My God.
So on our privilege thing here, say pretty people or people with nice bodies, gym bodies and stuff like that, famous people with their privilege and their pretty privilege and stuff, this is hypothetical. I'm not talking, anybody can answer. It's just a hypothetical question. But like, are we jealous? Are we jealous of pretty people and their privilege, or how do y'all feel about that? Like when you see pretty people or something where they get special privilege because they're pretty, does that strike a chord in us? Do we get jealous because they did get that privilege because they're pretty, and society might not see us as pretty or just put us in the average category or whatever?
I'm not jealous of anyone.
It's kind of like being light skinned too. Like if you're like, let's just say, the prettier you are, you will get privilege. But it can be a gift and a curse at the same time, because then even pretty people also get backlash as well, and even light skinned people get backlash as well, and all that other stuff. Some people just use pretty people as their, whatever it is. So it could be all the way across the board on that.
Yeah, no, I'm not jealous. Actually, when I see real pretty people or really good looking people or whatever, I'll be like, wow, look, they're gorgeous or they're pretty or whatever. I don't have any envy or jealousy. And I don't even have jealousy towards what people have. Whatever.
There's some people.
I got my own, so I don't have any.
No, there's some there's some people that adore pretty people. I'm not saying that, but there's other people that are.
And you may be one of the pretty ones. In every situation, we all could be one of the pretty ones.
And it's in the eye of the beholder, like I said before. Pretty and beautiful, whatever, it's in the eye of the beholder. But yeah, when I see people on TV, you know, getting this or getting that, or they're, you know, and you can tell that they're pretty, and you might even know that they only picked them or they won that award or they got this because they were pretty or they were considered that where they stand out in society or whatever because of their body or something like that.
I think
I give them their credit for being pretty or whatever. I have no angst or animosity or anything towards them.
Right.
And then I go on about my business. It's like, oh yeah, they are pretty, you know, or they're whatever stuff. Then I go on about my business.
Tim, I want to ask you a question. So, and this is for everybody, but I want to hear from you, Tim. So one of my friends, I wanted to make sure that I got these questions in or whatever, these comments or whatever. Scenarios. So say you're dating someone and we'll say they make more money than you. Do they get the privilege in the relationship as far as they make all the decisions, you know, whatever they say is the way it's going to be because they make more money? Do they have the privilege in the relationship of making all the decisions and stuff, Tim?
No, I don't think that gives. Just because your salary is a higher bracket than mine, I don't feel that gives you it does not give you the privilege to make all the decisions and choices that we live by. I feel that that's something, again, is a teamwork effort. So if you make 100,000 and I make 75,000, at the end of the day, I am Tim, you are whoever you are, and we just keep living life, but it doesn't give you any control over how our finances are. Let's just make sure that we are budgeting our money and enjoying life.
It doesn't make one more dominant over the other, you know, just
No, it
because
does not.
money or whatever. And a lot of times we do have those type of conflicts when one does make more than the other. You know, sometimes that dominant, especially with two men, you know, sometimes the insecurity and that, well, since I make this, then I can call the shots or make the rules and stuff, and it should not be like that.
Right.
You know, and they think because they do make them, you know, not all, you know, whatever, because I don't do that, you know, but
Always be if you think.
but I've been, you know, I have been with them where it makes them a little insecure because I did make so much money. And then, and I never threw that up in it, you know, I never used anything.
oh my God.
But some who make a lot of money, and I've heard it come out their mouth, they consider that a privilege, and they hold that over somebody, hold that over the other person they're in a relationship with because they do make so much money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they take that privilege of making so much money and they use it as a dominance to control the relationship, and it should not be like that.
Yeah, relationship is a two-way street. It's not a one-way street.
Hmm.
Yeah, true. Any other comments, Deshaun?
Yeah, I think people should, you know, not judge the person by how much salary that they make and just come together and, you know, try to figure out how to, you know, get through it by each other. You know, it's not about the money.
It's
It really
not.
is.
It's not.
Right.
And a lot of times that can make. Sometimes it's so involved in your relationship, it can make or break the relationship.
Yeah.
Unnecessary to me, but
Yeah, money is a big issue. I think that's why when you come into a relationship, whether it's just a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and also a marriage, then you have those discussions on how we're gonna do money, because one person may have one concept of the money and another person may have another concept. So I think that's a conversation that should be had. I mean, at least I would, just so that we're on the same page. But I would never use my salary, the more of or the lack of or whatever, to say what my stance or my position is in this relationship, because I didn't get with you because of the money, or whatever.
I see this more prevalent, in the black straight community and the black gay community, where this can make or break your relationship and the money issues and stuff like that. Amongst my white friends and the white people I know, straight and gay or whatever, that issue rarely comes up in their they got other issues. Now, believe me, they got other crazy ass issues that's off the wall. But usually that money issue is not one of them. I don't even think, I don't even think that most of them, maybe because a lot of them have money, but not all of them, but a lot of them do. But it just doesn't seem to be an issue when one makes more than the other. They just pull their resources together and they just go live and buy the shit and do the stuff that they want to do, travel, they do all this stuff. But with us black folks, for some reason, we have this hierarchy when it comes to money of who's the man and who's making the most money, who's dominant, or whatever. And that's the one who needs to control this relationship. Or I can't be in a relationship with you because you don't make as much as I do on that scale, and or you're not on my level. I hear that a lot in the black community and the black gay community, but I don't hear that in the white community. I'm sure it's out there, but I don't hear it on the scale or the level that we deal with it in the black community.
Yeah, because it's not as high in the white community as it is in the black community. Because I watched a show where there was a black couple, and this guy, he's very fit. He was saying that he had a relationship, and he said that he couldn't date a woman because he had a experience with this woman where this woman had made more money than him. And she threw it all on his face and everything else and all that other stuff. But then he's taken all his anger and frustration on another woman, because that's the reason why they're doing this boot camp. I don't know if it's like marriage or something like that, where they have a group of other black couples and stuff. But that's the reason why he said, I'm the dominant one. And, and he said that whatever I say goes, or whatever he does, like he's dominant over her. She can't say anything. Like she's just there sitting there like, like she has no say. You know what I mean?
I would say this to what Alvin was saying. I think there is some validity to what he was saying, because I think as black people, we have a bad relationship with money. I think, I don't think we were, in most households, I don't think we were really trained about money. We saw our parents get credit cards that they shouldn't have gotten. And like we said before, with the job thing, most of the time, the white people are probably going to make more. So money has always been a struggle with us. We didn't grow up. Most black households, they probably didn't even discuss budgets, whatever. Yeah. I think as black people, we just have a bad relationship with money. So like Alvin was saying, I think that's probably why there's more comfort, more of this money thing with blacks than with whites or whatever. So yeah. Tim, you still there?
Yeah, I see you stay there.
Hello, Tim?
Yes, I'm still here, Charles.
Okay, I'm going to give you another scenario. So, siblings, sometimes in family dynamics, we see that maybe parents or grandparents, maybe even aunts and uncles, give more favoritism to, a child or whatever, where one of your siblings may get, the inheritance passed down to them, maybe the house, the car, or land or whatever, property or whatever. How do you feel about that? Like about that privilege? Because sometimes there's privilege amongst your brothers and sisters or cousins or whatever.
Well, I've seen it happen before. Me being on my dad's side, I'm the second grandchild of 6. So I did watch, my oldest cousin actually be one of the previous grandchild who got the cars, who got this, who got that, because he was
the favorite. Because he was the favorite or something like that.
He was the favorite, and he was the first grandchild that was born. And not only that, but my aunt was young when she had him, so my grandmother felt that she was obligated. She and my grandfather, they felt obligated to take care of them, but they didn't dish out any, to assist my mother with me coming up as a kid or whatever the case was. But I don't really agree with favoritism in families. I just think that, we should all be treated equally. Of course, that's not going to be the case, especially in Black households. That's never the case. We always choose the one that we feel that is the spotlight person or the spotlight individual, the one that's got it all going on. They may have it going on like he had it going on from the time up until he got about 25 and 30. And lo and behold, drugs took over, and now he's still serving time and stuff like that. So at this point, I'm the grandchild that goes and see about my grandparents and stuff like that. So favoritism is kind of a touchy subject when it comes to most family. And when I brought it to my dad's attention in regards to that, because of the fact that, I felt that all my years, my sister, because my dad has 2 kids, I have 2 sisters on that side, and they feel the same way. So I'm the oldest child, so I felt that it was my place to step up and express my thoughts to my dad, and they didn't understand it, but I just wouldn't do favoritism. I have 3 nieces and a nephew, 3 nieces and a nephew, and if I was to die, everything, my insurance policies are split separately, where their parents can dish it out to them. So I don't do the favoritism thing.
Pretty privilege in families also, that could be what Deshaun was talking about earlier too, the colorism, or the pretty privilege. Sometimes the prettier one, who they consider the prettier one, or the lighter skinned ones, or fair skin or whatever, sometimes they're afforded more privilege than what they consider their average child looks like. Or it could be that with grandparents or even aunts and uncles can favor someone who's lighter, what they consider lighter skin, or they have a different body type or whatever, and they can play friends, and they can not leave the house to them or whatever, because I'm gonna leave it to even though they'll say that's not my favorite, I play favoritism and stuff like that. A lot of them do. And then they end up leaving something to their favorite child or children, and they can leave other ones out because they never really favored that child as much anyway. They took care of them, but they probably didn't give them the same treatment that they gave someone, the one who they thought was more prettier or attractive.
Deshaun, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, favoritism. I'm totally against that. I mean, because you're focusing on one person that you don't even give another chance to another person that might help you along the way, because you never know if something happens to the one that's your favorite. If something happens to your favorite and you don't even realize the ones that's your least favorite is giving you everything they got to you, and you just ignored the signs, and you're just focusing on another person that is your favorite, which, like I said, I'm totally against that. I think everyone should be equal, because the thing is, you had these kids, everyone should be your favorite. Everyone should
Exactly. Yeah.
That too. You know what I mean? And this is the reason why. This is the reason why we can never get anywhere in the Black community, because it's always, oh, that's my favorite, or it's this one, or it's that one, just because of who they are. And that's never the case. It should never be the case at all.
I like what you said, because that is so true. Most times, sometimes our parents, they take care of us the majority of our lives, and then maybe at the end of their lives, we have to start taking care of them. And if you've already deemed somebody favorite or whatever, who to say that favorite one is going to take care of you? It might be the other ones that are coming to visit you, or maybe even put you in their house, as opposed to putting you in a nursing home or, elderly home or whatever. So I wouldn't play that game. Yeah.
Right.
So we're getting ready to end this stream here in a minute or two. So, but the last thing that I want to say, what about when privilege ends? Like all the pretty privilege, because we do get old, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like you might have that privilege when you're younger of being beautiful or having a nice body, whatever. But then as you age, our features and our bodies and stuff change. And then so even with movie stars and stuff, they're famous for a while. Some of them are famous all their life, but even as they get older, they stop getting the roles and stuff that they got when they were younger and considered more attractive and beautiful and more marketable, and then same thing with pretty as they age. I know people are doing the Botox and getting all the different surgery and stuff to keep themselves, young looking and pretty. And a lot of times it don't work, but they're doing this type of stuff. So, you know, that comes in there, that mental stress of because the privilege will eventually end, you know, with all of us eventually, especially as we age. And in some of us, you may have money, but then you can lose it. You know what I'm saying? You know, thou giveth and thou taketh away too, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So even with the you know, the special privilege that the people are getting entrance into the clubs or a party and stuff, eventually that ends for all of us, you know. And a lot of times we don't take it that well because we're used to that privilege. You know, we done got used to that privilege, and then sometimes we can start doing crazy off the wall shit to keep, you know, to try to keep, you know, to keep that privilege, you know, and sometimes we can harm ourselves or others in the process, you know, of trying to keep that privilege that we were afforded.
Yeah, some types of privileges they're eventually going to end. So like you said, the actor part. I mean, I'm a young actor, so I'm gonna get the younger roles, but I can't be young forever. I'm at the age, so now I have to be the father or the grandfather or whatever. So the privileges are gonna change throughout the years. I think you can go to your grave with some sort of privilege. It's what you put emphasis on. So my thing is, if I'm old and I may not be considered pretty to this person over, I may not be considered whatever. But my thing, hopefully, as you age, you're gaining wisdom. And to me, that's a big privilege because I feel like I could always go to my grandmother when she was here. And then I do have a grandmother that is here. Hey, mother, I can always gain knowledge and wisdom from her. So I feel like that's a privilege that she can still give to me, even though she's older. She may not fall under your pretty category. She may not fall under this and this and this and this and this, but the life experiences she has, all the because the grandmother, well, let's talk about Mother. Mother, she is the one that it's been out there with the NAACP. She's the one that has seen the injustices, and she still stands. Like just the other year, she won something with the mayor and all this kind of stuff. She's still winning an award. She's on TV. They're always celebrating her. So I feel like I can always gain something from her. But it depends on what you value and what you feel like you can still give. There's a saying that says, don't go into the grave with something left undone or whatever, something like that. Like there's always something that you can give to society, your kids, or just even a stranger or whatever. But it's based on what you consider, valuable or some substance or whatever.
I thought you were getting ready to say, "Don't go into the light, Caroline."
Don't go into the light.
Yeah, that was funny.
So,
but for me, since we're kind of ending, I always try to, lead with some kind of pointers or whatever. And I just feel like this is one of the ways that we keep discussions like this open, and we have these discussions because they are real. I think that in these kind of type of environments that you should have clear rules and expectations on, how you want to be considered and how others consider you or whatever, because you set boundaries or whatever, because some people try to put you in these little categories, or you may even put yourself in these categories. But you have to, like you said, when privilege ends, you have to know that one day that certain privilege you have, it could possibly end or whatever. Promote in these jobs, like you were saying, sometimes there's not fairness on the jobs. I think all you corporations out there, you need to promote this. You need to have training. You need to address these issues when they come up. Address the biases. Recognize when people are being treated unfairly. And recognize when you are being discriminatory against a certain group or certain people or whatever. But like I said, I think this is the beginning, or this is a starting point to, just to see how privilege plays its part. And maybe one day, like I said, I don't think it's gonna end because people are always gonna prefer something over something, but at least have the conversations.
Yeah, at least talk about it and have conversations about it. You know what I mean? Because it's a healthy topic to talk about so that we can learn and be better. You know what I mean? So we can have a different approach on how we can do things and how we can, you know what I mean? Instead of doing favoritism and all that other stuff, how do we enlighten each other? How do we lift each other? Instead of trying to be like, I'm up here, why don't you just grab the person that's down there and put you onto your level? But a lot of people don't want to do that. So they just want to be on their own, they want to be on their own terms, which is the wrong way to do it. You know what I mean?
Right. We need leaders that lead by example. The right example. You need to step up and say, you know what, there's an issue here, there's a problem here. And I love the little thing that was going around with Jasmine, Representative Jasmine Crockett, when she got on that lady. And we need more people that will stand up and say, no, bitch. Yeah, no, bitch, that you're not gonna do that here. This is what y'all do. You're not gonna do that. Because baby, lashes, come on now. Lead by example.
And then not Crockett, but what's her name? She was using her white privilege. That's what that was. That was straight white privilege. Actually, even though she's rich, she's still rich. She's still rich trash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she don't need the money from what the salary she gets from Congress, whatever, from the government,
right?
Whatever, because she was rich before she got there, but she still uses her rich privilege, her white trashy privilege,
to just do whatever.
To say and do whatever she wants. And most of them allow Marjorie Taylor Greene to do that, and then when the black folks, usually because that's who are going to stand up against her and Alec, what's her name?
The girl from New Jersey. I can't think of
it either.
AOG or something.
AOC. And then they stand up to her, and then the general public, usually the general white public out there, they go and criticize them for standing up against her, for saying the rudest shit to. And whatever, and she can get away with that because of her privilege and say whatever she wants. But if that black woman had started off saying that, like say Marjorie Greene didn't say that, and that black woman just started attacking her, saying this, saying that, they would have sent her, tried to get her, get her voted out, which the Republicans are going to try to get her voted out anyway. But they would have censored her and did all that stuff. But they didn't do shit to Marjorie Greene for that. And that was her privilege.
Well, I did find out that they didn't let her say anything because we didn't see all that. But still, it took that long, though. Because it was like they were trying to ban, strike out stuff over and over and over. But I saw Jasmine did say that she was not allowed to say anything because she got so many strikes against her. But still, look how long it took, though. So we need leaders like Jasmine to just call it out, and encourage feedback, on these jobs or whatever that you see that, because people will tell you, hey, I think you're showing favoritism, but jobs don't want to hear that, but they need to, to make it a better work environment, or whatever, so
privilege is out there. It's not going anywhere, as long as society, society's always going to, they're going to dish out privilege and revoke privilege.
And on top of that, it depends on who's running it.
Right. Sometimes I guess it just depends on the type of privilege we are accepting, dishing out, or revoking. Maybe some of it can be fine and okay, and some of it is very harmful. So, but anyway, Deshaun, what kind of topics would you like to hear us talk about? Do you have anything in mind that you would like to hear us talk about, or anybody who they talk about certain issues or topics that they might want to hear us talk about on our show? You have anything like that?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we gotta talk about that. Yeah, Project 2025. Yeah, we gotta definitely talk about that a little bit more as well.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay.
We gotta talk about it because this.
Yeah, because he said some crazy ass shit.
Mhm.
Oh my God, the stuff that he had listed up in there, that list of the stuff. If black folks don't get their ass out and vote, or they go out and vote for Trump, don't go crying and saying, why are we in this predicament and why is this happening to us when you went out there and voted for that idiot, when you know what he did before, and if you go out there and all this stuff that he has listed, taking away this, taking away that, enforcing this, doing this and doing that, go out there and read that, because it's a long list. And if you think he won't come in there and try to enforce that type of stuff, especially when he has those Republicans and he has a whole lot of white mainstream society behind him and some blacks, whatever, behind him, he'll get in there and enforce that stuff, and it'll be just like we're in another country with chains on our hands or something.
Get your passports, people, because we might have to leave up out of here. I'm for real.
Look, I'll let you listen to this. Watch this.
Okay. All right.
More than 2 million Americans across the country are part of the federal civilian workforce. Scientists at scientific agencies, doctors at the FDA, accountants at the IRS. We want experts doing jobs that require expertise. But more than 50,000 of them would be fired under this plan and replaced with MAGA loyalists who would use the power of these agencies to fundamentally change the nature of America without needing to involve Congress. Number 2. Project 2025 is a far-right Christian nationalist agenda. By page 5, they're already proclaiming pornography should be outlawed. The people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned. Educators and public librarians who purvey it should be classed as registered sex offenders. This would be alarming enough if they were talking about actual pornography, but their definition spans anything that acknowledges the existence of LGBTQ people. They claim on page 451 that families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy society, thereby designating queer people, single parents, unmarried co-parents, and people who get abortions as inherently inferior and a threat to the state. On page 584, they call for the Department of Labor to explicitly give companies permission to discriminate against LGBTQ Americans. On page 450, they also declare that life begins at conception, and abortion is, quote, not healthcare. Accordingly, the FDA would ban abortion medications, as detailed on page 458. The administration would also seek to strip abortion services and contraception from health plans. See pages 483 and 585. Number 3, Project 2025 envisions a militarized police state where law enforcement is answerable only to the president. Maybe you live in a blue city or state and you think, I don't have to worry about my librarians being imprisoned. Guess again. Page 553 lays out how Trump's Justice Department will take over local law enforcement if they don't like how your own elected officials are running things. And they will prosecute district attorneys that they don't agree with. The plan also strips the FBI director of their independence, making them a lackey of the president. See page 549. And on page 104, the plan reduces the number of military generals, so power is more fully consolidated in the commander-in-chief. A central focus of the new police state would be Trump's goal of undertaking
the largest domestic deportation operation in American history.
Immigration enforcement is to be conducted like a war, with the military deployed within the U.S. and millions of immigrants rounded up and thrown into newly constructed mass holding camps. A powerful new border security and immigration agency would replace the Department of Homeland Security. See page 133. This would also mean the DHS's efforts to combat far-right domestic terrorists would stop altogether. One plan that is not in the public document, but that members of the Project 2025 team reportedly disclosed to the Washington Post, is to invoke the Insurrection Act to have the military suppress public protests against Trump. I'm just scratching the surface. The plan is loaded with actions ranging from changing labor rules to effectively end overtime pay. That's on page 592. To slaughtering wild horses. That's on page 528. You can do your own deep dive on their website, project2025.org. I'm Alan Piper at A Piper 13. Follow Courier Newsroom for all of the information you need about the stakes of the 2024 Olympics.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then that's what we put out there. That's the list that I was talking about, where where I had I read that that list of what he was putting out. Trump was elected because of his white privilege and the white privilege that people have. Like white America, mainstream America. There's more of them than us. That's not how you win an election. But in the instance that he won, it was his white privilege, because no matter what Trump was, what he has done in his past and future, present, no matter what he says, he still got elected. They would not have let Obama. Obama would not have gotten away with any of that. No other black person would have gotten away with any of that, and that's white privilege.
That's definitely white privilege, and plus he got money too, because Trump is
the
like
money, right?
billion,
Money is a
billion.
big issue. Yeah.
That's also the part of that too, and he
not
had
as much
everyone on
money
his
as he said he
side.
had.
He almost had
It's
everyone
the
on
money
his
that they
side.
but it's the money that they fundraise too. It's not just his money, but the money
That's the money he was using. That money, he wasn't coming up off of none of his money,
right.
And they don't even realize, the people who kept donating to him and stuff. He was using their money, which was also, he wasn't supposed to be doing some of the stuff he was doing with their with their campaign contributions and stuff. He was not supposed to be doing. That's why he's in court now with some of that stuff too, because that's all in this. In that deposition and all of this other stuff that's going on with the court. A lot of that is in there because that was illegal with how he used their money with some of it too.
And that money told us how majority of America or white people feel. Because if you sending your money to something, that tells me that's exactly how you feel. Because me personally, I ain't funding nothing that I don't believe in. So for you to send that money, so when they start popping up, and we saw them on jobs and talking crazy and Karens and all this, I was like, okay, we need to get ready to get up out of here, because this is how they feel. It was covered, but Trump woke all that shit up.
Okay, so we're gonna end this stream. We're almost at 3 hours.
I know.
I'm gonna try to get in there and edit it and break it up into segments and stuff. Maybe put out a 15-20 minute segment here, 15 minutes. I'll leave the full video out there too, in case people want to watch the whole thing, and then I'll try to break it up into pieces where people, for those
where we answer questions and stuff.
Where people who don't want to watch a real long video might only want to watch 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. I'll try to break that up here once we get back from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it this week though. But anyway, hey, Deshaun, Tim, Jai, everybody, the ones who came in, thanks for joining. Thanks for commenting, and hope you'll come back in and join us again. And the world out there, please like, share, and subscribe our channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And if you can help us get there, we would appreciate it. And then come back and watch us again. Tune in when you can.
Yeah, send all your friends. Tell them to come over.
Yes.
But thank y'all. Have a good rest of the evening and the rest of the week. Have an awesome, amazing week.
All right. Enjoy, you guys.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let me say hi to Ty.
Okay.
Ty's, let's see. It says, "I'll talk to you later." Oh, I thought that was somebody. That was you putting the comments in.
It got cut off on the first one. That's the end of society.
Oh, it did. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna send this across real quick, and then, like I said. Okay, bye world. Bye Dallas.
Bye y'all. Have a good one.
Appreciate y'all.